Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today.
Like, I'm putting all of my time into this always. And to be honest, it kind of has to work out because my academic career wasn't amazing. Video gaming is kind of all that I have. So I don't really have a lot else to put, a lot more energy to put into it. It's everything that I can.
They say, like, do what you love, and I really, really like playing Overwatch. I make fun of the game a lot and, complain about balance patches and stuff, but I really do enjoy the game. I want to make a career out of it.
So I started playing Overwatch in October 2016, and that was like season 3. My first ranking ever was 900. So I started in like bottom bronze.
Playing games for money and playing games for pro and going against really good people. And it's always like a dream. Realizing that if I stick to it, this might be something I can actually do something with and be proud of.
When I was originally in Diamond, some guy in my Diamond game a while ago said, "We're never going to go pro, we're Diamond, why are we trying so hard?" And I basically said, "Screw you, I'm going to go pro."
We have now learned that we do have this potential and we need to use this. We need to continue practicing and working harder.
When you look at tier 3, a lot of us have been at the bottom of the barrel. We've been in the downs and the dumps of, the Overwatch ladder system.
I think as a team going into Trial of Champions, now we know we can do this.
Making it to Contenders Trials proves to myself that all the hard work that I'm putting into it is actually doing something.
I went to the Atlanta Reign homestand, seeing those players up on stage. That was the moment I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to do everything I can to get there.
Sigma, oh, whoa, oh man, rock with a K.
He's just W. Oh my god! The wall just set it up. They had no idea.
The Overwatch League players already made it. They're as high as you can get. They're playing for money and they're playing for clout. But for us, in Tier 3, we're basically playing for our future. If we want to make it, we have to play every match our hardest.
The unique strats that you see in Overwatch League, they all start here.
I am making this dream that I've had for so long, a reality.
At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to play the best Overwatch we can against the best players we can to prove that we're the best.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to the second half of today's broadcast. That's right, we've hit the halfway mark. 4 teams over and done with for today. Another 4 coming your way. I'm Big Hungry Phil, and with me to help bring you the action today is Thibbledog. Thibble, welcome to the broadcast. How's it going, and what have we got to look forward to?
It's going okay. It's been a crazy day of Overwatch, but I feel we could say that pretty much every day, and also it's 2020.
Every day is crazy.
So, yeah. But in terms of what to look forward to, we've got a couple bangers coming online with some old names, actually. A lot of these teams coming online with some names that you've seen before. Yes, you there in the chat. If you have been paying attention to Tier 2 Overwatch, and you as well, Phil, I'm sure you've been paying attention too. So,
yeah, you can't not pay attention to Tier 2 Overwatch if you want to make it in the casting business right now. That's where all the opportunities are, of course. And, Thibble, speaking of opportunity, boy, have I got an opportunity for you. Say you'd like to earn a little more money.
I would like to do that.
Thank you. Well, really, really easy option for you here. Opinion Outpost, so kind here to help sponsor the Trial of Champions, and as well as sponsoring the Trial of Champions, giving you a super simple way to earn a little bit of extra scratch. couldn't be easier either. All you've got to do is log on to Opinion Outpost, and in your downtime while you're waiting for a game to load up, etc., and so forth, just earn money giving your opinions. Really couldn't be much simpler. And if you'd like to learn a little more about it and get some links, it's !Opinion Outpost in the chat, and all those details coming your way in the not too distant future. So, Thibault, you mentioned that we've got a couple of teams coming our way. In fact, coming everybody's way. There we've got some maybe fairly well-known or familiar names coming your way. Who have you got in mind when you're thinking of that?
So I will let my bias shine through a tiny bit and start talking about Pug first. Of course, you know, a paragon of professionalism I am. I will only let the cracks ever shine through for a moment. Pug has a lot of members from formerly from both Karasuno and Triumph, a team that I used to work for back in the day. We have Valen, we have Nos or N2S, though we're supposed to call him Nos. We have Anj, who has played in a variety of teams, as well as HTP and Skiz. There's tons of chemistry here coming through. All these guys know each other, have played together off and on for the past year or more. So we're looking at, despite the name being Pug, this is actually quite the coordinated team on our hands.
Yeah, this is definitely a little more than a pickup game, but I think one of the more interesting things to note here is that whilst many of the teams we've got playing here today are all based in NA, or at least, you know, relatively close to NA, this is a pretty international looking roster. Valen coming in from Argentina, Emily and HTP from South Korea, A&J from the Netherlands, Wannabe also from the States, as are Naz and Skiz. So really globe-trotting hit team here for Pug.
Right, and I mean, I think a lot of people from regions across the world realize and have realized for some time that NA is kind of where it's at. It's one of the bigger regions, at least in terms of popularity and exposure. And if you want to try and come make a name for yourself, NA is a good place to do it. So these guys coming from all over the world, and Emily, who is a girl, coming from all over the place to try and make their mark in the scene and come and play in a tournament like this with trial spots and $3,000 cash on the line.
And we are getting very close to getting into Lijiang Tower, our first map for today. We sadly didn't quite get time to go over the Delta Phoenix roster, but I think it is a roster that we should probably give a little bit of time to, because a lot of very familiar names for the Tier 2 NA scene here kind of respawning here as Delta Phoenix, and I think they should be ready to put on quite the show here today, and they are out of the gate already. Mupi on the ball, ready to close the distance and look for some early boops.
Right, Delta Phoenix coming in, a lot of core members from Old Revival, but now they are ready to rise again, maintaining that motif, but Orange is ready to put them right back down. Goodness me.
Yeah, that's already a couple of picks coming the way of Delta Phoenix. One just by Infernal, heading over the side there. Wannabe's going to punch back, and Mupi is still alive on the ball to keep things going for now, but this is certainly looking like an early cap here for Pug.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much you can do about a couple boots here and there, especially with Skiz coming through as well. There are so many displacement options from the composition Pug is running, and on a map like Lijiang Garden, there are way too many opportunities, especially if you rotate across that bridge side. I would hope that Delta Phoenix on the next go-round, assuming they don't turn this fight around right now with that pick on the Skiz, maybe come around on that left side room instead. There's
an option here for Pug, looking for the big stick. Won't quite find that one, but that's going to be one that's back pretty quickly, and will actually secure the D-Mech here as well. So Wannabe already starting to find some value here. A D-Mech is almost as good as a kill. And now Coalescence from HTP, but it is Battle of the Coalescences there. Nobody really getting the upper hand on that one, and upper hand heavily delivered there by the Wrecking Ball, dropping the minefield. Ski is able to find Mupi his opposite number with that one, and Pug on the back of coming into this in a 5v6, looking real good to get the fight win here.
Holy cow, yeah, that was it looked to be quite the recontest from Delta Phoenix, all coming in after getting that mega health pack in that little pagoda off to the left there. But despite them coming back on pretty strong and in a well-coordinated fashion, ultimately it just wasn't quite enough. Pug built up some ultimates pretty quick, starting out with the Coalescence, bringing up the self-destruct and the pulse bomb as well from Wannabe, and then the mines just kind of to clear it all up. A little expensive from Pug, but ultimately not too bad. Ultimate's still pretty even across the board, and this is getting a little scrappy, a little controlled.
Yeah, EMP is going to hit too, but crucially doesn't get Liar, who pops the Soundberry, keeps his team alive whilst they are out and finding frags. One for Minefield, meaning Valen is now out of the fight. HTP is going to go down. both with the melee to knock Skiz out of the fight, and that's got to be the cap here for Delta Phoenix, but Pug have got this quite a long way along here.
Not quite making it with that trap, but hey, you get what you can. This is still a great fight win here. Though some good stall coming out from Pug. They crossed 90%. They're definitely in one-fight territory, but they're behind in ultimates for sure. Delta Phoenix's composition is definitely defensively focused. Huge amounts of poke damage. You are not going to get there unscathed as these ultimates come in fast.
Riptire and Self-Destruct both thrown in together here. The only explosive not being thrown in yet is the Pulse Bomb. Both with a tire on point. You know, that's 10 seconds of catch of progress, getting for one fairly quick charging ult here. I don't mind that, didn't get any kills.
Yeah, zoning ultimates are a real deal here. We joke about them here and there, but ultimately they have their value. And this Coalescence is more than the zoning is so far. Good on Delta Phoenix. They're fighting this back.
Already ANJ and Wannabe and HTP down. Skiz is able to find one here, but it's one with 3 players lost already. He will go down to Moopy, swinging on through the grapple of his own, has the minefield, secures the DMEC, and I think they're just gonna... No, I thought they might stagger Emily out there, but Emily will get taken out by Squid. And no cap just yet, Pug, but Delta Phoenix did use a few ults in that.
Right, they're Pug were trying to pull out what they could from them, but Delta Phoenix are layering things fairly well. The key thing to look at is the difference in support ultimates so far, especially as HTP swaps to this Mercy. Valkyrie will build a little bit slower than Coalescence.
Yeah, quite right. Self-destruct in and out. Luckily, Moopy has all the HP in the world, all the HP that a mechanized hamster can possibly give you, survives that. Skiz and Wannabe frag out a little bit here, getting one apiece, but Skiz is going to have to do just a little bit more heavy lift to keep that going. Decides to outsource some of the lifting to his minefield. We'll see the DMEC come through here onto Infernal. Infernal's now down, and Pug looking good for the flip here. We do have a couple of plays still on point. Moopy's going to get worked down. There's the EMP just to secure the pick onto Liar. Valen goes down here. Minefield deals with Liar, and that is the cap. It's last fight territory.
Yeah, at this stage in the game, basically, you don't have to worry about saving the EMP for a sound barrier. You're just trying to close it out. That said, Pug are kind of holding on as tenaciously as they can. Skiz is putting in work right now.
Yeah, Skiz has been probably a top fragger here for his team. Moopy as well, also doing lots of the Wrecking Ball's really a big part of this team comp. We'll see Lai manage to get the frag here. Sound Barrier is now out from ANJ as well as Skiz puts another one to his name. Imperial's able to find HTP, and suddenly the scales start to tip a little bit here. Delta Phoenix with kills firmly in their favor. ANJ run down by the mech and finished off with fusion drivers. Moopy looking for a bit of space control there, but Valen's back. And back on the Echo here, immediately deletes Moopy from the fight. Flip comes through, and now they've got to get in and keep this going. And they've somehow got to find their way around this Riptire. It's a way up into the high ground. Valen's going to go down here. Coalescence onto HTP, and Skiz trying to hide behind his mines. Has to leave the safety of them, and this is going to be just a fighting retreat here from Pug. Delta Phoenix looking to come in strong with the first map point on Li Jiang.
It felt like for 80% of that, both teams were equally likely to win the round, which is beautiful, frankly, but also pure chaos. I love the Junkrat wrinkle coming out. I thought that was really good from both. I love how much work those Wrecking Balls were doing. We really have to go back to that because it felt like every other kill on the feed was from Moopy or Skiz. Tons of environmental displacements, tons of just sheer focus fire, good mine usage as well. Not the deadliest, but great zoning tools in general. Also some good value out of those self-destructs. Love to see that. I think it's going to come down in this next round or two, depending on Valen getting some good EMPs, especially against Dirk now on the Zenyatta. You have to try and catch him out and make sure that he can't get a Transcendence off if he's got it beforehand. Otherwise, it completely cancels the ultimate.
A lot riding on Valen's performance here, and in particular the ability to quickly charge that ultimate to get it on board for some quick team fight wins. We'll see Boat bringing out the soldier here, blocking the legs. Moopy's going to go down nice and early here for Pug. We'll see Emily taken out as well, so it's a 1-for-1 tank trade. Wannabe looking to work on some angles here, but Skiz is just on fire already, putting in so much pressure, finding so many kills. Just when you think the fight is about to flip, in comes Skiz, running on through, gets a couple, nicely gatekeeps Moopy out there with a bit of a body block.
Everywhere.
You're going to have to escape here.
He was literally everywhere he needed to be. Perfect kills and disruption all the way through. I mean, Delta Phoenix have been trying to rotate onto the point 3 different ways, and he's had a counter for every single one.
He's Pug with the first cap, 12% and climbing now. It's going to be down to Delta Phoenix to get something on board here. I'd like to see a quick pulse bomb out from Squid, maybe. Skiz with a nice wide spread on the minefield. Couldn't find anybody with the power drive, and it looks like Delta Phoenix actually rotated out of the way of that, saw it coming, but this is another big time buy here for Pug.
Right, and they saw it coming, but they got separated from both, and Pug saw that immediately and just turned on him, quick as you like. Wannabe does go down, but now we have some ults coming in, trading off.
Yeah, it was the early EMP out from Valor, doesn't find too much. HTP is able to get the work over onto the mech, take Infernal back into Baby Diva mode only, and now it's a boat with the Tactical Visor. Away in the back, has to round the corner as we see Pug start to make themselves scarce away from the incoming, hard to dodge damage of the soldier on the boat. We'll see Dirk throw in the Transcendence here just to round out this team fight and keep everybody alive and secure the cap.
I think that was okay. I'm not 100% that they needed it, but you do want to make sure you secure the fight, because if you lose that, you're in a pretty bad way in terms of percentage. He also doesn't have to worry about the EMP anytime soon because Valen had just used it. So not the worst loss there overall, but maybe in a perfect world he kept that. Good stick here for Squid. Goodness.
That's the first stick I think we've seen from a pulse bomb in a round and a half here, so shame it didn't result in the kill, but you know, good to see that text up on screen. Wannabe's going to get worked over there by the Helix rocket and taken out, sent back to spawn. 2 kills on the board here for the DPS of Delta Phoenix, and Pug not really in the fight in a meaningful way. It is back to spawn to regroup. Squid does not want to give up the fight just yet, and Boat chases them all the way to spawn here. This is so aggressive from Delta Phoenix.
Touch the spawn doors, establish dominance. Oh, we got it, yeah, we got it. Boat is doing so much work. I've been so curious to see what a Soldier 76 could do at this level, playing at their maximum potential with this recoil change. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Emily, though, not to be denied, eating up some pulse bombs, saying, hey, pay attention to me, too.
And it looks like Boat didn't find too much with the Tactical Visor there either. So 2 ults out from Delta Phoenix, and now they've got to find their way back onto the point around the minefield and moving in a little bit of trouble there. But that is a heck of a transcendence. The Zoomiata, as it were, straight onto the point. Clears some of the mines, helps keep his team alive, and Delta Phoenix are going to hold on here. But that was a really good play from Skiz.
And again, Dirk is doing a great job. Again, he pops Transcendence after the EMP is used. They get through both of those EMP fights really without losing much. Valen needs to get maybe a little more value now that he's swapped onto the soldier himself, actually. But Boat has his number. No. Oh, my.
It's like, there is only room for one soldier here, and my Helix rocket says it's going to be me this time, my friends. Skiz back to point here to draw a little bit of focus. And slowly bringing everybody back into the party. Goes for the roll through onto the mech, but once it is out and ready to blow, you can't do too much with it once it's landed. Tactical Visor now again from Boat, but a lot of ordnance sent his way, and he's knocked down. It's a 2-for-2 trade here, though. Emily's still up in the fight, as is Skiz. Well, no, do you know what? That's a cast of curse if ever I saw it. Skiz taken out here. It is 99-63. Delta Phoenix holding on by the skin of their teeth, and I believe that is the flip now coming through for Pug.
Right, but if I'm Delta Phoenix, I'm not too worried about that. You're up 2 now with that Resurrect and that pick coming back online at 99%. You have a couple ults to blow here. Or rather, you're building up to a couple, and you can pull out a couple from Pug, but I mean, that's a good, I don't even know. That's a great coalescence, so they kind of make me eat my words here.
Yeah, well, Emily's going to get Moopy down, and that's going to be the flip again. Pug at 78 and rising. Last fight territory for both teams.
Okay, so they've got 3 ultimates online, Delta Phoenix. They've got the Pulse Bomb, which could get some work done, the Mines, which could be an effective zoning tool if they don't get a pick even, and then both support ults coming actually online too, assuming Dirk stays alive for the next 10 or 15 seconds or so. This could be a great recapture opportunity for Delta Phoenix, but those, I don't know about those Mines. That's
not a great start. 2 down already here, and Pug looking good now to equalizers and take it to a 3rd round here on the Chang. It's another pulse bomb eaten as well. Trans on the point to buy a little bit more time, but look at the left-hand side of the kill feed there. It's all blue. Shows you exactly how this team fight's going up. ANJ finds Squid, but Boat is now back in on the Doomfist, looking for the combos, punches back into the points.
Oh,
unfortunately, no. Self-destruct's going to catch you out. There's only so much you can do there to keep the point alive and contested and fight and avoid the self-destruct, but Pug fight it out and take us to round 3 on VJ.
I just think the ultimates that they had online weren't quite enough to sustain them to get the ults that they needed. If that Transcendence had come through 5 or so seconds earlier, Infernal would not have been demeched, and that could have been a very different fight, giving a little extra time for Boat to come online with that Doomfist and get more than those 2 kills, which was already pretty freaking good for a last-minute fight. That could have gone very differently if everything had been timed 5 seconds sooner. So small error there from Delta, but also just smart outplay from Pug, knowing perhaps that they had that minute, very small time where they had an ult advantage and pushing that point as best they could. Now coming online with a Reinhardt D.Va composition, which makes a lot of sense, but countered against something very interesting from Delta Phoenix, a hog and ball comp with some Pharah on the side.
The old ball and chain coming out here from Delta Phoenix, and already paying dividends. Want to be down HTP down here as well. They are going to lose Infernal, which is a bit of their pick potential off the board, but Boat still has a lot of pick potential himself. Won't quite get the the kill there. Almost got the sleep into the Concussive Blast. Not going to happen. Still going on though. Emily's able to find a couple. We'll find the DMEC here. Squid's still alive and not going to do too much through the focus healing that's coming out there from HTP and ANJ, but it's looking like Delta Phoenix. Do you know what? Every time I think this is going to go a certain way, Valen comes through and takes it.
Yeah, Valen has been putting in the work, and there's so much pick potential coming out from Delta Phoenix with this composition. Like, it's tough to call. It's so back and forth, this whole thing.
Well, Mookie's able to find the double here. They do lose Infernal. Big Stick, finally a kill coming on the back of a Pulse Bomb, and it's Skiz down here. The DMEC, ANJ, Emily all down and out for the count, and Delta Phoenix looking to get the flip here. Only 1/4 of the point gain for Pug.
You know, I was going to talk about Boat and how he's really impressed on pretty much every hero that he's touched, but Squid coming in on this Tracer has been rock solid. And I think this is the map really where he's getting warmed up. The geometry suits him, and the routes he knows suit him, and he is going to get a lot done. Boat, though, we go back to him now because he is incessant. Look at this man. He does not care what you are doing. He is going to get in your face. I love this play from them.
Knew exactly whose primary counter was, and so the Barrage went just into dealing with the primary counter. It secures the 5v6. Wannabe says, actually, no, think about that again. I am slightly accounting for you. Get in range! What a hook! The hook into the mines deals with Wannabe. Moofy with the mines on their own there will secure that fight win for Delta Phoenix.
And notice Skiz swapped over to the Wrecking Ball at some point in there a little while ago now. He's pretty built up towards this next minefield. But there's just so much pick potential from Delta. Stuff like that, at least getting some solid ult percentage on a tank like Moofy, or excuse me, on Skiz, but also just the Hog and the super aggressive Pharah and the Tracer building up pulse bombs. A pick like that already. Delta Phoenix have a great opportunity here because every pick is another 10 or 15% if they play it right. They have so much potential here.
Really, if you're Pug, you kind of want to get out and come back and have a proper 6v6 team fight, because right now Delta Phoenix are just denying any possibility of that. Skiz has to retreat to the health back, and I think he's, I think they know exactly where he is. He might be trapped here between the Tracer and the Pharah.
Right, and there are so many, all those angles are covered everywhere they go. Boat is there, Squid is there, Infernal is there. The pick on Infernal is a start, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
This is looking really rough now for a team that has come through looking pretty good on the first offense in the third point on Lijiang Tower. Now they're just being picked apart here by Delta Phoenix, and Squid able to get a quick 2-tap there. DMEC's going to come through onto Emily. We are getting very close to last fight territory. Overtime is in effect. It's ticking down. Where a Pug? Well, back in spawn or on their way to point and not there to contest. That's a 2-1 for Delta Phoenix.
I mean, what a ridiculous bit of zoning there at the end from Moopy. Staggering out the D.Va, distracting the Baby D.Va and the Reaper. No chance of getting to point. Way too much displacement. Way too many threats from way too many angles. And Delta Phoenix are looking really, really good. I know they kind of disappointed in their last Trials run. I believe they went 1-4 or so. But you would not be able to tell looking at the games these guys are putting on right now, because that was a masterclass. That looked really good.
It was a really good example of what I've come to think of as the avoided squid or the avoided octopus, in that you constantly have like more than one team fight to worry about. You've got a team that want to take a couple of 2v1 secure picks and then just clean up on the back of that. And it can be really, really hard to deal with if you're not used to playing it. And I know from having seen players from Delta Phoenix play in other compositions, in other teams, a lot of this roster previously played for, I believe, Revival, which coincidentally another team sort of linked to where you work as well. So you've got a lot of stakes on both sides here. I know that they can play other things aside from these like big pick focus compositions. So Pug have really got to up their game if they want to take this to Delta Phoenix.
Right. I mean, they started out so strong. And all those rounds were close. None of these have been blowouts so far. It's just a matter of you have to be able, in Overwatch in general, it's always a matter of you have to be able to stay one step ahead of the other guy. And if they are out adapting you, you are fundamentally behind. And that starts snowballing very fast, which we kind of started to see. Pug did not really have an answer to both maintaining these angles and blocking Skiz from getting out and doing his disruption, or Squid getting the solid pulse bombs and applying pressure to the backline all the time. They didn't really have an answer to those changes, not just in composition, but in play style. And that's what gave Delta Phoenix that win, especially in that last stage there on Control Center. So coming into Route 66, Pug really have to think about, okay, we know not only the compositions they're going to run, perhaps, but the way in which they want to play them. What do we do about that on a map like Route 66, where the geometry is a little different? We maybe have a little more time to think. We got to turn that into something, because otherwise we're looking down the barrel of a nice little 2-0 for Delta Phoenix, which honestly I was not necessarily predicting myself.
It's all set to change here as we hit Route 66. I think one of the things about Lijiang in particular is that it's very difficult to make any sort of long-range hit scan work, which is why we didn't see it. So if we have, on the side of Pug, players specifically very good at that long-range hit scan role and in a position to make that work for them, we could see this go the other way. You can even actually see Pug now in spawn, currently at least thinking about that double sniper look.
Right, and their team sheets, at least, the things that we read to determine the information that we can kind of talk about for these teams, did mention that they're not afraid to play some Widow, play some Ashe, play some of that long-range double sniper style. And Route 66 is a map that definitely allows it. Maybe they go for a couple early picks here, but maybe they really try and turn this into something, as Valen steps forward, going for the jump shot now.
Man, I love that incredibly safe position for Valen, playing all the way back in the part of spawn where you can change your character if you have to, looking for that opening shot. Instead, rotates around the side. It's going to be down to Delta Phoenix to play out of the line of fire here of Valen, or alternatively for Valen to be taking aggressive positions. Pug able to find one already. Boat is now down. There is res potential, but as Infernal's down as well, it is a 5v6, and maybe you want to retreat and regroup and come back. Boat has been able to find one coming back in on the back of the res, but there's just too much flak coming at Delta Phoenix here. Pug looking good to take an early fight.
Right, Boat and Squid are both just so aggressive in your face. Like, they're really the kind of DPS players that you want to be countering a double sniper composition, but it can sometimes bite you in the butt, because you have to be careful to make sure that the other team can't turn around and just deal with you, because your aggression looks pretty silly after that.
Oh, man. Infernal went fishing and reeled up a big old Gravidon Surge, which is really not the sort of fish you're hoping for in one of these fishing expeditions. Pug's able to find Muthi here, and given where we saw the picks come through here, I don't know how much contestation we've got left on this card on point A.
Right, it feels like Delta Phoenix were almost overconfident and felt like, yeah, we just won Lijiang. We could totally get in these guys' faces and like just call them out, and they're not going to be able to do anything. And Pug said, buddy, you forget. We are experienced players too. We have been in contenders and in trials for some time. You cannot come to us like that and expect to walk away without missing a couple teeth. And suddenly Pug are looking really good off the back of that.
I mean, really, there wasn't even a lot for me to call during that fight. It was incredibly one-sided. It only really cost them the Valkyrie and the Bob, which, you know, they're not the most fight-changing ults. That was pretty good value here for Pug.
Absolutely. They're maintaining now. They have the Inversight advantage coming in. They're moving forward. They're taking picks like that onto Dirk and just pushing. And Infernal is trying to push them back. Might get a pick with this, but also it's not guaranteed. And he's pretty low himself, and down he goes.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Living right now.
Yeah, Emily with a massive amount of charge there. Infernal didn't stand a chance, couldn't heal during the ultimate, and Pug just looked really unstoppable is a word that gets thrown around a lot right now, but yeah, unstoppable.
They've got great momentum here, and they're converting. Valen turned that Infrasight into at least one pick. Skiz turned that Primal Rage into an environment in which Emily could build up another Graviton Surge. Now they're hanging out on this high ground, ready to go. Wannabe's halfway to a Bob, and they have a Transcendence in case anything goes bad.
Oh, no. Emily just walks forward, gives them the old chin music, and takes Liar out of the fight. Moopy's able to get the equalizer, though, pops the adaptive shield, and now wants to get back onto the card and contest and at least slow it down a little bit. But Infernal, with a swap over onto the Diva of their own, is already out of the mech. Moopy is already down. Squid's going to get the nano boost here, but there is a lot left for him to do. Boat over on the Widow now is able to find one, and that is Squid down and out. So a nice pushback from Delta Phoenix, a couple of picks, but just a little bit too late.
Right, and there's just no way with these sight lines and the disadvantage in terms of geometry that you have at the end of that point, coming back to try and recontest, you almost never see a team really come back and win that fight. It's just to stall for time. And Pug are crossing 4 minutes 20 in the bank, right? Like, that was an insanely fast first couple stages, and now even if Delta Phoenix start to bring it around, which is not guaranteed, they have their work cut out for them. That is a lot to do. Moopy getting this pick is the beginning of something, but they need to do more.
Yeah, the problem is they can't seem to deal with ANJ, who is always there to bring the res back in, and now it's Skiz going to town with the monkey arms, swinging a wild, finding the pick onto Liar here, back into fully fledged scientist mode. See Boat coming alive here with the tactical visor in place. Finally got a couple of kills that might break the back of the offense here. ANJ does not have the res online just yet. One more pick will secure them the hold here. And now that they're entrenched, they can start to burn some time off the clock.
All right, I respect the coalescence there. They're touching the spawn doors, right? They want to say, hey man, your days of pushing straight through us are done. Skiz is now on the Roadhog, and they're hanging out here, ready. And you can see Pug now saying, okay, let's maybe slow it down a bit. Let's maybe just look for picks, be patient about this, because it's real easy to burn through a time bank on this point specifically if you're not careful. So I like the change in style from them, knowing they need to back up a little bit. But Delta Phoenix as well are not going to give them that space. Look at this.
Squid finally wins the 1v1 versus Wannabe. Emily getting close to having the Graviton Surge, but not online just yet. But by holding over here at the spawn, Delta Phoenix are burning so much time off the clock. They don't mind that they're investing things here. Sound Barrier gets traded out for the Transcendence from HTP. Graviton Surge protected there by the bubble, no incoming damage, and Delta Phoenix are still holding on here. Moopy's going to town with the arms in the back again, finds one, HTP down, both supports offline, and the off-tank down here as well. Delta Phoenix still in control of the choke.
I feel like all these fights are actually little series of micro skirmishes. Well, they'll get a pick and use an ult, and then pause, and then get another pick and use another ult. This is so back and forth and so scrappy here. Both teams trying to either hold or stop being held so close to these doors, and it is chaos. I've never seen this many fights happen here on Route 66.
This is the sort of fight that you typically only see when one team is significantly outclassing the other team. Like, you very seldom get this space taken away from you on the offense.
It looks like the Delta Phoenix are just pissed off. They're saying, no, you don't get to push us like that through Streets phase. Excuse me. You do not get to walk through those gates with 4 minutes on the clock without us winning some of that time back. And they are fighting because the time bank is more than half reduced at this point. We're at a minute and a half.
This has been really quite a good pushback from Pug, from Delta Phoenix, who looked, bullied on the first 2 rounds against that double sniper composition. But Pug now really starting to mix things up a bit here. Everybody has now swapped roles effectively. See the sound barrier coming out from Liar just to help facilitate this hold at the enemy spawn even more than it already was. Keeps them alive through that, lets them hold on to the choke that with a bit longer. Valen now has the Death Blossom ready to go. We'll see the self-destruct in over the top from Infernal, and Valen might have the Death Blossom, but the rest of his team has crumbled around him.
Yeah,
and now it's 1 minute left on the clock here. How do you break out from this? How do you get past the mines anyway?
This is pure disrespect. These are 2 teams slapping each other open-handed across the face. Neither one really willing to give up. Pug knows that they have some strategic advantages in that they can swap faster, go back to spawn and heal up, but Pug don't care. They are constantly ulting spawn door. This is not something you should get away with, and if I am Pug right now, I'm mad. And I'm almost too mad to think, perhaps, because these guys, they've been swapping it up. They have the ultimates. Nothing is working. We are 10 seconds on the clock.
Oh man, they really want this EMP from Wannabe, but with 10 seconds on the clock, it's just not going to happen anytime soon. Valen throws in the Death Blossom, but it's kind of a Hail Mary. It's an attempt to buy some space and get to the cart and get the contest going. We'll see the self-destruct come out and find two. Skiz is now back in on the Roadhog, and finally, in overtime, this hold the choke is down and out. Delta Phoenix have a lot of time left to play with.
Mind you, Skiz swapped like 3 times before making it back to the Roadhog in the last 4.5 minutes. So it's clear that they kept trying a bunch of things and it wasn't working, and they finally found something with the pick potential to actually get them out of those spawn doors. But now they're pushing in overtime. They're going to be lucky to finish as it is. Delta Phoenix coming online with a couple ultimates. They're going to have to watch out for this EMP though.
Liar needs to get this sound barrier online ASAP. Not going to have it, but the EMP and the self-destruct in over the top. Not going to find too much here. Boat's going to go down. Liar survives through that one and puts the sound barrier on. Minefield to stuff at the cart here, and Moopy to knock them away and keep this going that little bit longer. 2 down. It's a tank. It's a support. Valen is back here, and he is chunking away with these Hellfire shotguns, but there's only so much effective range you've got on those. Does at least have the Coalescence at his back for now, but Liar finds a couple of sound goop dinks to Valen's head and takes him out of the fight. Emily now back on the Divas, 78% and climbing towards having another self-destruct online. Wannabe is now off of the Sombra, knows that's not coming back anytime soon, and it is kills aplenty coming in now for Delta Phoenix. Squid with a double to round that out, and Pug stopped short on point C.
I have never seen a hold like that on Route 66 in my life. You and I and plenty of other casters and analysts and stuff have talked and observed about the evolution of the game. How over the course of many years of play at this point, things that were once ridiculous or unheard of or one of a kind are now becoming much more commonplace. We talk about how Goat's meta changed the way we look at ult coordination and combos, and how Orisa Sigma and all of these compositions that have hung around for a bit have really taught us about the way the game is played at a macro level. I feel these chaotic metas have lent themselves to these holds and fights in new places that we never see, and that is a prime example, because you do not see that happen in games of Overwatch. There's usually one fight there, and that's it. This is insane.
I feel like this is maybe not just an NA thing, but very particularly an NA thing. I've had the opportunity recently to speak to a few Korean players who have been playing in NA for various reasons. And the read there is that the macro level of play is not as good in NA as it is in Korea. And I'm more than happy for NA players to come and clap back on that one. That's entirely your prerogative. But this individualistic, chaotic style really suits the type of play we see here in NA.
Absolutely. Tons of mechanically focused players who just want to make those plays. And plays like this, little jump shots and these forward holds and touching the spawn door, that is 100% a Bastion. This is so NA, it hurts, but it hurts so good. I want to see, let's see what they can do with this.
Okay, but it's Bastion, but without any
Bastion.
Oh my days! Nobody saw that coming. Least of all me. Squid with the double so far. Also has the immortality. Finds the quad kill here. Teleports back out again. And Pug have got to be feeling pretty chagrined about that one.
I am legally obligated to shout out Liam Overwatch, main tank for Team Ireland, who has generally been credited with the invention of the teleporting Bastion strategy, normally used on King's Row first to teleport on top of the statue of Mondata and get an awesome view of first point. Yes, the top hat. I have never seen that on Route 66. That said, we definitely should. I mean, that was glorious. Oh, he was putting in work.
Squid. Just playing in recon mode at the minute, but is this enough to stem the bleeding? We will see a Venomine kill come through onto Moofy, which is unusual. Don't often see that coming through onto Ricky. Drops down, but has to be careful. Cannot go toe-to-toe with a head hitbox that size against a Bastion. Has the configuration, tank peeks the corner, forces out the Transcendence from HTP, but in the right circumstance, the damage can burst through that. Instead, he's going to go back into turret form and start to close the distance, but they lose both here again. He finds the Equalizer and Infernal down as well here from Delta Phoenix. And Pug, despite having all of that BM picks thrown their way, are going to manage the hold.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some shock factor, let's say. There's the initial gobsmacking of, oh my god, they just flanking Telebastioned us, and that was pretty impressive. But coming back after that point, as we see, oh my god, just a ridiculous flick from him, you kind of, the weaknesses of Bastion are then made bare. There's only so much you can do to protect that guy. So good swap, I think, from Delta Phoenix. That's a one-push sort of situation, and now Pug are setting up their defense pretty well.
We'll look at the D-Mech already. Boat goes down, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Dirk, being heavily pressured, has to throw down the Immortality Field, but with Skiz having the Primal Rage active, boops him outside the range of that. Luke with a nice minefield will secure 1 kill, and he's on the hunt for more. He doesn't mind about kills here. What he wants is space, but he's still finding kills. One of he's going to go down, but it isn't even trade. Infernal's still on the point and keeping things alive. Tags back onto the Mega Health Pack to keep himself in this fight that a little bit longer. Off in the distance, though, Squid's Pulse Bomb does get eaten here by Emily. Transcenders out again from HTP here, and it looks like Pug have an opportunity to stabilize here because we are seeing Wannabe coming back into the fight with the Bob, that fabled 7th man on the field, ready to keep this fight going that little bit further. There's the Bob to keep the point contested, and Wannabe's going to keep hold of this high ground, rein in the damage, but Squid just runs him over on the Tracer. And now Delta Phoenix get a crack at point B.
Delta Phoenix are so good and so focused on splitting Pug apart. Pug want to play together here. They like stacking up. They like having the peel from the D.Va, just like right here that we're watching right now as that massive stick comes through. But Squid and Moopy are so good at going, I'm just going to hit you. I'm just going to put you farther away from everybody else and then take that 1v1. That's what they want. So it's going to be up to, can they play that game all the way through, or are Pug going to be able to withstand that separation?
Ruby went down early in that one, and Lyre managed to get the sound barrier off, which means that you can deal without having some of that HP available to you, the Wrecking Ball being down, and he will, of course, be back fairly quickly. Boat gets dived with the visor up, and looks like he's in a real danger here, yet Emily able to chase him all the way down, dislodge him from his perch, but it just hasn't done enough here. There are still 3 kills coming through here from Delta Phoenix. Self-destruct to the high ground, somehow finds Lyre, who I thought was far enough away from that to be safe, and whilst it looked like it was going to be Delta Phoenix taking that, Pug managed just enough to keep it in their favor.
I feel like Clown Fiesta has a pretty negative connotation, so I won't call this a Clown Fiesta, but it's definitely a party. Because did you see that Amp Matrix from Dirk?
Yeah.
Just solo up there as you please, and he got kills with it. He got value out of that. But like, you would never see that in a fancy civilized game of Overwatch. This is a bare knuckle brawl. This is insane. I'm loving Squid getting so much work, putting so much pressure on these guys. Infernal doing a good job. Both Divas really shutting down snipers. Tons of tank pressure as Boat swaps onto the Hanzo. I feel like this is like the 10th hero he's played. This is some good old-fashioned tier 2 Overwatch, man.
It is, man. And look what Delta Phoenix are holding here. They're ready to stop this recontest coming through. Boat's just going to spam the choke. He's getting very close to having the Dragon Strike online as well. And if anybody just happens to walk into his okay, you can walk into his crosshair, or he can chase you down and put that little reticle on you himself. That's really unfortunate for Valen. He's down already. Dragon Strike out. Got to use that nice and early here as well. The D-Mech's already through. Boat's going to find Skiz here as well, and we're looking at a cap here on B with not an unfavorable amount of time here for Delta Phoenix.
Right. I mean, we can talk about that flick all we want, but I also want to say that the supports from Delta Phoenix are putting on a clinic. Dirk has been in the kill feed as much as like Squid or Moopy, which insanity. HTP, of course, heard me and said, no, pay attention to me, please. And then Squid said, no, that's fine.
It's almost like the listening.
Every single fight, this is not like, okay, one team gets the pick and then they kill the rest of the enemy team and that's it. It's like one team gets the pick and then the other team gets 2 and then they come back and swap.
Ooh, self-destruct out. Wannabe just just misses on that by the slimmest of angles. Nice pulse bomb stick onto Moopy, secures the 4v6 here. Boat is back on the Bastion, which baffles me, but you know, hey, if you think he can make it work, makes the jump, looking to go on a flank on his own here. Without the aid of the Symmetra, he will get found out and takes a bit of flack on the way in, but at the very least, he's drawing attention. In the meantime, Moopy is away in the front lines, dropping out the minefield. Folks able to find Wannabe, but Inferno gets DMAC at the same time. There's a sound barrier in play as well, making Moopy momentarily more or less unkillable. Up on the high ground, a couple of mines to get away out of the way. Self-destruct at point-blank range, but saved by a 90-degree bend in the passageway there. Back to the safety of the cart, and a little bit of protection coming his way. Body blocking here from Moopy to absorb some of the damage as they use Boat just to ram their way through this. Off of the payload for now, just able to take a different angle entirely. Wannabe finds one, throws the stickies onto Boat, but with his own self-heal, gets himself out of danger, and now has that configuration tank. But the Ironclad there, in the configuration sentry mode, keeps him alive through that. Now he's got the tank, and he can go absolutely ham with those high damage rockets. ANJ at next to no health. Valen down, Emily down, Boat riding high on the payload for now. It closes the distance, and that is it. Delta Phoenix, they work their way up to an unconventional 2-0 in the series.
So that felt like an argument that has just devolved into screaming in each other's faces. Especially that just dropped the Diva Bomb straight on Boat's head as we see this amazing play of the game. Just every single fight there was, we've brought something new, we're going to get 2 picks with it. And then you're going to pick 2 of us, and then it's going to be like a 2v3, and both teams are just going to fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. It is so insanely back and forth all the way through, and it's frankly a little tricky to analyze, right? Because it's really just a matter of who can throw out the craziest sentence next, right? Who can say the weirdest thing to throw the other person off guard, except in terms of which heroes you're playing, right? Who are you going to put Boat on the Bastion or Squid? Is Squid going to be playing Tracer or a Sniper? Can Valen stay ahead of a Bastion being put in front of his face? Can Emily keep anyone safe from that? Oh, and by the way, Dirk just popped Amp Matrix on top of the roof and is just kind of taking pot shots at people and got 3 kills. It's chaos, but this is fantastic.
I think the analysis goes so far as the East Coast lore. Like, you know, this is all classic East Coast special stuff. Like, we got the teleporting Bastion, we've got the stinky one-trick heroes coming out. It's it is very hard to give like, oh, well, you know, clearly this specific angle was very important to this fight, and if they had popped this ultimate just this second earlier, they would have won that. Like, it's just chaos. Like, it might not be a clown fiesta, but it's a party, and there are children's entertainers involved somewhere. So, Thibault, we've got at least one more map coming through for the viewers today in Delta Phoenix versus Pug. Pug would probably like 1 point on the board here. Getting 3 Odin sent down to the loser bracket is not a great way to round out the day's Overwatch. But before we bring you that, we are going to throw to a quick break, but don't go too far because we will be right back.
There's spawn door. What the
Dude,
fuck?
Barkin, I wanted to so badly, and then you were like, be another spawn door, and I was like, yes, I have someone else to blame.
How to hit him with the spawn camp. Oh, look at it! Look at it!
I wish we were lobby hosts so I could go map.
Is there like an actual difference from expensive candles and cheap candles, or like should I not waste my money on expensive candles?
It depends on what you're trying to do with the candle.
Just smell nice. It's supposed to smell nice in my room.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably a difference, but not enough to make you
but
really
for vanilla. For vanilla is like expensive vanilla.
Probably just get whatever.
Or not expensive, but like a $5 candle and a $1 candle. Like,
I'm gonna
is there really?
I'm gonna say a $1 candle cuts enough corners to be bad, but a $5 candle at least has like some things that are good. Okay. That's my 2 cents. That being said, I've never bought a candle before.
I barely bought candles, and I surprisingly like them. They're nice.
Like, I got like a scented candle like a while back for something. It's just like, oh, this is pleasant. But also, it's like, it's just a candle, I guess.
Yo, green arrow. You there? Yo, green arrow. he's muting and unmuting. He's
Yeah, he's dying.
That was like Morse
Dude,
code.
it was like Morse code. Yeah, it was like Morse code. Oh, I can't read Morse code. I'm sorry.
Watching SOS, guys.
What is it?
Okay, at my bombs play, this angle was pretty clean on the bomb. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, that was so fucking weird.
Guys, I have a death I'm throwing.
They need, if they want to win, they need to stop trolling with.
Oh,
Yeah, you're mad.
Fire, you are so mad.
Yeah, wow, look at him press Q, guys. Wow. Unlike me, I have to actually like aim it, but no, you can just press it in the vicinity and oh, everybody's dead. Wow, great play, Bontour.
Big! Uprising Academy, they lay down the shutter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting until it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today. Welcome back, everybody, and you join us at match point between Delta Phoenix and Pug. Delta Phoenix running an unconventional attack run on Route 66 to say the very least, and Pug get one more go at getting a point on the board. Otherwise, it's down to the lower bracket for them and forward in the upper bracket for Delta Phoenix, Big Hungry Phil, and Thibble. Still with you to bring you our next map. Thibble, what have you got to look forward to?
Man, we are looking at a very, if we have anything to go by with that Route 66, we are looking at probably the weirdest Hollywood we've ever seen. There's probably going to be, like a hold in that first, like in the Babylon Hotel just outside of Spawn. There's probably going to be a hold in the production backroom studio that attackers initially spawn out of. A hold right under that spaceship. Like just all the places you don't expect. That's where the fights will happen. I foresee Torbs on both sides, maybe some sim. What else? Let's see.
See, guys, what you can't see is just off screen is that Thibble does in fact have a crystal ball just off screen, and he's looking into that one for exactly what we're going to get in this next map. It's a common trick for color casters.
Is that what we call the copy of the script? It's the crystal ball.
You're not supposed to say the script.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I've been. My inner eye is so open. I see the future. It's my brain is coming out of my ears because it looks like pure chaos, and I love it.
Well, yeah, Hollywood will be our map set going into our potential final map here, unless Pug can turn things around. But I feel like it's very difficult to look at what Delta Phoenix did and come up with concrete, cohesive lessons learned and apply those very quickly, because it kind of felt like sometimes Delta Phoenix didn't know what they were going to be doing from minute to minute.
Absolutely. It is the pure American Army strategy of they can never predict what we're doing if we can't predict what we're doing, and they are proving me right. In a normal game, I would say Pug have a decent shot here to start turning things around, because this is a good sniper map. You can get some good sight lines here, especially on second point. And we do see the Ash from Valen coming out. That's an option. Of course, Squid and Boat are going to just run at the spawn door screaming with their kilts up and just make me look like a fool. So I'm not going to say anything. Let's see what happens.
We really
this is going to be wacky.
Yeah, we really shouldn't have given them kilts. It was a mistake for all involved. Oh no! OANJ up on the high ground. Nobody saw the Bastion in the crow's nest. Finds one pick. Moopy gets the second here, but he can't keep in that position now because they know he's there. Instead, he's going to take up this classic Torb turret hiding spot in the grass.
They did have a fight at the Babylon Hotel. I can literally see the future. This is insane. Oh, maybe I do know something about this game. Squid getting a total mayhem kill. I'm pretty sure if anyone's got a drinking game going for that, go ahead and take a drink, because I'm sure that was on there. Good Leslo coming out from Anj. It looks like Pug might actually be able to start pushing in, even as Anj then goes down.
Yeah, Delta Phoenix looking like they might have just overplayed this one a little bit here. Valen gets an early bob into the mix. Will be pressured down here by Moopy, but the damage has already been done, and there's no sticking a band-aid on this one. Pug with a quick cap here on point A, and not much Delta Phoenix can do to get back in.
No, but this is not the end of the world. Lots of good holds come out on Streets phase, and of course they have to make my predictions come true about them having a fight in that backlot green screen room, so appreciate that from them. Pug actually pushing through here pretty strong, getting some initial stagger picks, pushing forward with force. Emily dropping just an in-your-face self-destruct. Gets kicked in the face, but I suppose you take that trade. Especially with Skiz coming in here and getting some work done.
Yeah, Boat's down. Liar will bring Dirk back in, but, rest into a lost fight. There's not a lot you can do with that.
Nope, just gotta run away. And he's not much for running. He can float slowly away, and it doesn't work. They end up getting the pick there with the dynamite. And I feel like Delta Phoenix ought to be backing up maybe a little more than they are. It looks like there's one or two people trying to constantly flit around the cart, committing a minefield on this, but I don't know if it's the play from them, actually.
No, this is interesting, but it's a nice little rotation off the high ground to get the power driver onto the Widowmaker, but he takes just a ton of damage there from HTP. Beautiful focus. It's a big dump up into the air with the power driver, sending Infernal up. Gets him worked down. Boat's able to find one, and Dirk commits the Transcendence here, which I don't know about. Won't keep him alive in the face of the Diva. The one thing the Delta Phoenix are doing here is slowing down the cart. But when you look at the price they're paying, you've got to ask if it's the right approach.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's not necessarily pulling a ton of ultimates. It did get the 2 support ultimates, but Pug will happily hang on to their tank ults, at least for now. Want to be swapping over to the Genji, actually. I like maybe putting a little extra pressure on the snipers and generally just doing their best to get this cart moving a little faster.
Man, this is all starting to fall apart a little bit here for Delta Phoenix. Pug not being held up too much. Dragon's going to come out, and the res is there for Liar, but they lose boat as part of this as well. So like, they stem the bleeding with an ultimate or with a res, and immediately there's a cut somewhere else that they've got to deal with. Skizz gets a double run down there, credit to both of those kills in the kill feed, and holds on to the minefield, but now chases Mufi, and if ever you wanted to play Yakety Sax over a game of Overwatch, this would be the match for it.
Absolutely. This whole series, it feels like. Now we've got Boat on the Echo. I think that's another new hero for him, I believe. Valen getting some work done with Bob, and Wannabe building up towards that Dragon Blade still, as Infernal tries desperately to stop the bleeding. Like you said, it's every time they get 1, 2, like every time they plug one hole, 2 more pop up.
Wannabe is already very close to having the Dragon Blade here as well. We'll see Boat now back in on the Reaper this time, which I think we have seen him play already. And finally, for what feels like the first time on this defense, Delta Phoenix are the ones with the kills in their favor, just shy of point C.
Smart from Squid, actually, to take some one hit point. All right, buddy, be careful there. He's taking some damage to help build up his support ultimates faster. Dirk and Liar both coming online with theirs very soon if they don't have them already. But you got to be careful. Tracer's awful squishy.
And that's a nice early minefield from Mufi. High ground aggression, high ground chase. We'll see 1 kill come through here, but it does cost Mufi his existence. But as players go, one of the quicker back to spawn, back from spawn even. So if you are Delta Phoenix, you don't mind too much giving over that trade. And now the chase is on. Pug want to try and deal with Squid, will eventually get the pick, and now things look a little bit more dire here for Delta Phoenix because Squid is down. Inferno's going to get demeched. But look at where this fight is happening, a long way away from the car.
I really didn't predict a fight to happen in Cafe because I figured it was too standard. Of course, I should have specified a fight will happen in Cafe, but only after the cart has almost hit 3rd point. Because, of course, Squid kills himself on a pulse bomb?
Our Boat gets slapped and deleted from the game. Skizz coming up on the minefields here, misses the roll over the car there, instead bumps off the bumper. Self-destruct available for Emily. Able to use this to get the mech back should she need it, but it looks like the kills are here now for Pug. We will get the sound barrier out from Liar, only hit himself and Squid, and now it's not there to deal with the Dragon Blade, but a lot of Dragon Blade just being brandished menacingly at Liar. Doesn't care about the pick, just wants to show him that he's got a pointy sword.
Old man yells at Cloud, more at 11. This is really checking all the boxes on your bingo cards, ladies and gamers. Wow. It looks like Pug are starting to set up here. Some good high ground control, some good sight lines. Skizz getting that little knock-up kill as Emily is fighting it out.
Oh, really, my friend? Finds the double fall. It's all going to go into the defense matrix. Causes the ult to come offline, and the kills are there in big numbers now for Pug. Time ticks down, but they just manage a cap outside of overtime.
If you can take anything away from this game and learn anything about how these players play or anything about our analysis of the game, it's that these fights are not over until all 6 members of a team are dead. And even then, it's really not guaranteed. These will always go on. They will always try and press Q. You must always look out for who has the next ultimate, who is making the next rotation around, who's getting the next res. It's constant back and forth.
I can summarize exactly how Delta Phoenix are playing here, and it's holding Pug's hands and going, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. Yeah. They don't care. It's not the same as winning a fight. Like, they're annoying people. They're burning time off the clock. They're getting us down into OT, and they buy space for Squid to find a quick couple of picks there, including a bit of chin music sent the way of Wannabe, who's now on a Reaper of their own. Self-destruct's going to go out. Little tag into the corner there from Dirk to survive through it, but somehow Emily's self-destruct still finds 2. The one thing Delta Phoenix have done here is more or less guarantee an overtime cap here for Pug.
Which is great. Like you said, they are very good at just burning the clock and being persistent just pestering constantly. Doesn't matter if it's one of them or 6 of them. They are here to just be annoying, and they're doing a damn good job. Squid over here is saying, "Come over here, come over here. You got to deal with me. I'm gonna kill you."
That was such a weird 1v1.
No,
Boat's
Tracer
over on the
1v1s are-
Junkrat.
Yeah, Tracer 1v1s are always chaos. I like Boat on the Junkrat though. He's been doing a lot of work on it, and it's great for this wrecking ball too.
Oh no, small box, big mines, nowhere to go. A lot of Delta Phoenix trapped up there. There's a sound barrier out now, and we are deep into overtime. So if you're Delta Phoenix, you probably don't mind throwing some ults at this fight. You win this one fight, that's it. GG, you've managed to hold. Finally, Squid with a big pulsaroo. Finds 2 on that one. Time for Wannabe to clap back with a Death Blossom now. Finds 1 before Infernal takes him out. It is tanks alive on the point now for Pug with the self-destruct in over the top. And we're looking to see that remech very quickly turn back into a D-mech, and that is as far as the cart's gonna go. So, at the very least, we won't be seeing a round 2 for these teams on Hollywood. There is a definite golden box of victory on the cards for Delta Phoenix.
Right, and that means there's a win condition for both teams. Make it past that golden box, or keep that cart away from the golden box. Some John Madden analysis for you there, folks. I want to talk about Squid, because in a world of chaos...
All the food.
Yeah, yes. Oh, calamari. I could go for some of that. Anyway, in a world of chaos, Squid is weirdly playing the most normal game out of anyone, because he is just the tracer. He is the annoying fly to buzz around the heads of Pug, and he is doing a fantastic job. He is getting in weird 1v1s and distracting people. He is getting in and out alive. He is sticking pulse bombs and getting some great kills with them, softening up tanks, doing everything a tracer is supposed to do in a normal game of Overwatch. You may have heard of it. You're not seeing much of that today, but in the before times, BDP, before Delta Phoenix, you did occasionally see tracers just be annoying, and that's their job. So good on Squid there, just doing what he's supposed to do, and actually giving me something legitimate to talk about that isn't just, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And as they get onto their attack, it looks like he is actually swapped to the Widowmaker, which is another perfectly normal pick. I love this. Thank you.
This is the most normal we've seen Delta Phoenix look for most of this
Actually,
round so
yes.
far.
Yeah.
They're running a meta comp. It's Pug that are looking weird here.
Yeah, now they've decided, okay, why don't we do some of that? Let's get Echo Torb. Why not? Sure.
Classic synergistic DPS pair, Echo Torb. Moopy takes a lot of damage, but there's been some time bought here for Skiz to overstay his welcome, and this has been a pretty catastrophic point a hold here for Pug. They do find Liar, but the respawn is heavily in his favor with the speed at his back and the spawn so close. Wannabe is still here, very close to, or relatively close to having that Molten Core online. Goes toe-to-toe with the Reaper, but Reaper has a lot more burst damage potential than Torb does, especially with that reduced firing rate on the primary fire here, and we'll get a duplicate here from Valen, likely to have the first Death Blossom of the round online, but they largely make themselves scarce, and he gets demeched here. Molten Core has come online, you can hear it ticking away doing damage in the background there. He's trying to win this 1v1 with Liar, and I think I'm going to give that to Liar, because really it's the turret that got the pick on that one, but what a close round this has been so far, and Delta Phoenix don't want to give this one up just yet. Self-destruct's going to come through from Emily as HTP finds the pick onto Infernal. Moopy's back in. He's got 4 with him. He's got the EMP there, but it only hits Skiz. Death Blossom now out in a small room, but that goes again mostly into a defense matrix. We've nearly got this point flipped here for Delta Phoenix, but Pug are valiantly, gamely keeping out this fight and keeping it going that little bit longer. But with the Primal Rage into the cafe to bat people away from getting the recon test coming through, this has to be Delta Phoenix finally managing the cap.
At one point, there was one member of Delta Phoenix on the point, and they all got back. It's like I said, these fights are not over until all 6 are dead. Until the team kill horn sounds, you cannot assume that a fight is won. This is almost akin to how it was in GOATS, really, where like you could kind of find a way. In the early days of GOATS, I suppose, before people really figured it out, you could always find a way. You could find a good Diva Bomb or a good Graviton or something like that. And with Delta Phoenix, they found the way. They re-engage with the sound barrier, a strong placing, a good bomb like that is all they need to keep this thing rolling. And they have their win condition in sight. They see that victory ahead of them, and they want it.
Phenomenal value from Inferno, getting a kill, a demech, and then a kill in that order means that there's nobody really here from Pug to contest the payload, and it's getting close to this final corner. Pug have been forced to run the mirror here, so Valen's now running the Sombra. Did get that hack to come off onto Inferno, but it's a big old EMP out from both. Hits 5 of Pug. Only one of them down so far, but that's a tale with a very definite ending in its future. Not much you can do on the back of an EMP and then a manual hack. Skiz is going to go down last, and, well, nobody left to keep this payload from rolling on into point C.
I'm almost more surprised that these fights are going so cleanly than I am by all the crazy fights that we've been seeing at this point. Skiz swapping over to the Reinhardt, they need something a little more stable, they feel, to start holding the point, really planting their flag in these last moments, because this cart has been chugging. This time bank is immense. Delta Phoenix are doing their job. They want to finish this game.
Well, HTP buffeted around there in between the minefield. We'll see the manual hack come through onto Moopy. Desperately trying to bunny hop his way away from that one, but won't be able to survive. Doesn't really matter if you lose the fight here. That's 4 minutes. Yes, you're not reading that wrong. 4 minutes on the time back here for Delta Phoenix. Pug will have an EMP Death Blossom combo ready to go. It's a fight winner, but it's only one fight winner. Delta Phoenix have been convincingly winning these fights on their offense.
Well, what Valen needs to do here to keep this in is to get a good EMP and cancel out some ultimates. Yes, that said, Infernal Spawn already got a lot of value. That's a team kill. That's an actual fight that is over, even though Valen actually is alive.
And Moopy coming in on the Reinhardt, just going to ride the cart on this one because I think he's fairly confident. There's nobody there to touch. HTP and Valen just tag on, and they also get the sound barrier from ANJ, but it wasn't enough. Wannabe's going to go down. They tag off the cart, and that is it. It's a 3-0 for Delta Phoenix in the wackiest round, I think, maybe since we saw Anteku play on the first day.
Yeah, I mean, you and me, Phil, have really just been getting the crazy ones.
Yeah,
is
that good? I like it.
I didn't read that part in the script, but, you know, I'll allow it, I guess. This is fun. I mean, this is insanity, but this is fun because these fights were never over until the wipe came through, and you never knew who was going to come back next. Tons of re-engages with beats, tons of just like single picks steering the entire course of a fight or going back and forth all the way through. Mwah. Beautiful.
There's a word for matches that are a sort of fun insanity, and I've just coined it. It's fun sanity, Dibble. This has been a map full of fun sanity, and the fun sanity isn't going to stop. We will, of course, have the MVP of the match coming your way. You can see it up on screen now. Vote away for who you'd like to get in on the interview here today. And I believe whilst we're waiting for that to go down and for our MVP to get into the lobby, we're going to throw to a quick break ourselves, but stay tuned for that MVP interview. Yeah. welcome back, everybody. We're here with the interview, but maybe not the interview we were promised. Boat was the winner of the MVP vote, but we've been informed Delta Phoenix have a spokesperson, and that spokesperson has joined us today. So welcome to Liar. Welcome to the broadcast, and congratulations on the win. How are you feeling?
You know, going into the match, we knew it was going to be pretty easy. We were going to put our tunes on, we were going to run our fun comps, and we were just, going to beat them in.
I can already tell this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, we're the best team in this tournament, and it shows. So, it's
Okay,
like,
we're that confident, are we? We're so confident that we're looking at.
I mean, of
we're looking at
course.
Lunaris, we're looking at our zero, we're looking at the stream team, and we're going, yeah, no, fine, these guys aren't a problem.
I mean, of course.
Okay, I like the confidence. And you, before we came live, you mentioned that you have some thoughts about Boat winning MVP.
Yeah, Boat does not deserve MVP. Whoever voted in chat, you guys are delusional. All right, it's gonna go to my guy Squid. Squid is the MVP of the match. If you guys did not see that bash in 4K, that's my guy. We practiced that. We VOD reviewed it really hard. We stole it from actually San Francisco Shock. So, just secret strats. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Well,
go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say not so secret anymore. So some of your holds looked a little bit lopsided. So I want to talk about that Hollywood hold in particular, where point A and point B seem to more or less not happen, and then point C happens, and you just burn all the time of the clock in the world. And now that I think about it, Route 66 is the same.
Same thing.
Did you just want to see all of the map, or was there something that Pug were throwing at you that you hadn't quite figured out?
So you've seen our comps, and sometimes it's kind of a coin flip, I'd say. You either have people that when they see our comps, they turn their computer off, and then they get lucky, like Pug did. And usually, if you lose first fight, you kind of lose all of second. That's just kind of how Overwatch works. And then third, we're like, all right, we're gonna try 5%, and then we just close it out and spawn camp them. It just
that was only 5%. You're telling me?
Yeah, we just don't try. I mean, if you see in the general, we're listening to the Crazy Frog songs, and we're screaming. The guy that records our comms, he can tell you. He witnessed it firsthand.
Well, look, I mean, we get a vibe check. We get a vibe check recording of you guys. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you seem, I'll understate this one a bit. You seem awfully confident moving forward. Some big names, obviously, that you don't seem too worried about. Is there anyone in particular that you're really looking forward to just crushing underneath your heel? Because apparently you guys are really feeling yourselves here.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't know who's in the tournament still, and you can't I don't really know where to see who's on teams. But
so if you'd like that, if you type !bracket in the chat, that will give you the bracket and all the teams that are still in.
Hold up, guys, you just gotta give me a second.
We're doing this live.
This in real time, everybody. We are figuring this out.
I just thought I was plugging it to chat. I didn't realize we're actually going to get. But yeah, do the reading. Let us know who it is that you're particularly
Our
worried about.
Zero, Tea Party. I mean, I don't think either of those teams are really good. I'm pretty sure we spawn camped them in scrims and they rage quit. But I mean, it just happens. I think everybody else in the tournament, we've spawn camped and they get tilted, and I just don't think they're ready for our confidence. We're just gonna, press W into them, and they're gonna cry. It's just gonna happen.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Look out for Liar pressing W straight at you in scrims. Liar, we're going to let you go back to your team. And I guess celebrate is maybe the wrong word if you were so confident about coming through that it's just kind of matter of fact. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to shout out, anything you'd like to say to close out the session?
I want to shout out my teammates, everybody that played today, our coaching staff, Static and JSR. This would not be possible without them. And Delta Phoenix and Revival for, giving us such a great home. We are Delta Phoenix, and we are the best team in Tournament of Champions, whatever the name is.
Guys, you were close. We got those a lot.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Close enough. Yeah, guys, clip that. Let's see that on social media.
Wait,
just so we've got something for that. If this doesn't come true, we can go, we got you.
Yeah, that just happens. We're just the best team in here.
Okay, well, looking forward to the rest of your run, Liar. Thanks and take care. For everybody else, we do have another matchup coming your way in the not too distant future, but it will take us just a just a scooch to get that going and ready for you. So whilst we're waiting for that to come to fruition, we are going to throw it to a quick break. But if this match is anything to go by, we are in for even more fun and games in the next round. So don't go too far, and we'll see you in a few.
Academy, they lay down the shutter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend. Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting until it's for sure lost.
Winnable!
Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today.
Like, I'm putting all of my time into this always. And to be honest, it kind of has to work out because my academic career wasn't amazing. Video gaming is kind of all that I have. So I don't really have a lot else to put, a lot more energy to put into it. It's everything that I can.
They say, like, do what you love, and I really, really like playing Overwatch. I make fun of the game a lot and, complain about balance patches and stuff, but I really do enjoy the game. I want to make a career out of it.
So I started playing Overwatch in October 2016. That was like season 3. My first ranking ever was 900. So I started in like bottom bronze.
Playing games for money and playing games for pro and going against really good people. And it's always like a dream. Realizing that if I stick to it, this might be something I can actually do something with and be proud of.
When I was originally in Diamond, some guy in my Diamond game a while ago said, "We're never going to go pro, we're Diamond, why are we trying so hard?" And I basically said, "Screw you, I'm going to go pro."
We have now learned that we do have this potential and we need to use this. We need to continue practicing and working harder.
When you look at tier 3, a lot of us have been at the bottom of the barrel. We've been in the downs and the dumps of, the Overwatch ladder system.
I think as a team going into Trial of Champions, now we know we can do this.
Making it to Contenders Trials proves to myself that all the hard work that I'm putting into it is actually doing something.
I went to the Atlanta Reign homestand, seeing those players up on stage. That was the moment I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to do everything I can to get there.
Sigma, oh, whoa! Oh man, she's back with a free
It's just W. Oh my god! The wall just set it up. They had no idea.
The Overwatch League players already made it. They're as high as you can get. They're playing for money and they're playing for clout. But for us, in Tier 3, we're basically playing for our future. If we want to make it, we have to play every match our hardest.
The unique strats that you see in Overwatch League, they all start here.
I am making this dream that I've had for so long, a reality.
At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to play the best Overwatch we can against the best players we can to prove that we're the best.
Welcome back, everybody, and we've got one more game coming at you this evening, and it's going to be Hour Zero versus Tea Party. And I think, Fibble, Hour Zero, one of the stronger, or certainly one of the favoured teams to make it some distance here in the Trial of Champions.
Right. Yeah. I mean, stronger for sure. A lot of people are considering them, obviously, here in the top 16. They're proving themselves in real time. Plenty of people as well, in these post-game interviews, when we ask them, which team do you want to play? When they're not saying, we don't care, we're the best team in the world, we're going to kill everybody. A lot of them have mentioned Hour Zero as kind of that team they're looking at, as that big name that they're going to try and take down to make a name for themselves. And Taku comes to mind. One of the first teams we cast. They were definitely interested in playing this team and seeing what they have. And it's hard to blame them. There's some great talent on this team, veterans of the scene, players like Salty, Tensa, who was one of the original members of Goats. Like, this is a stacked roster through and through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a roster with, I think, a lot to live up to, and obviously to have made it to this round, living up to at least some of that today. Tea Party, on the other hand, I've got to admit, a lot more names that I am not all that familiar with.
A lot of them are much older in the scene and have maybe taken a bit of a break lately, or haven't been quite as high as they've been in the past. Players like Amadian and Antol, members, frankly, who played on the original Tea Party. This one has an abbreviated name, but there was a team called Tea Party. They even had their own academy roster at one point, but have since then kind of fallen off the radar. Some of the players have, kind of done that. Am I going to play Overwatch anymore? It's very stressful, and then come back, which happens a lot, all the time. So this is a team with some much older names, perhaps, but still some veteran presences. And the fact that they've made it this far tells me that they haven't quite lost it yet. Or I don't want to say quiet, because that implies that it's coming, but they haven't lost it yet. They are still capable players of Overwatch, and that could make this quite a big game.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work that's gone on previously in other rosters these guys have been part of, and whilst it's a skill that dulls in some instances with enough practice, and if you're keeping up just by playing the ladder, then you keep hold of those skills. So we're not going to be counting this team out just because they've got players who we haven't seen on the pro scene for a little while here. They could surprise us here against Hour Zero.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by no means do I think any of them taking a break or playing just an open division for a bit or something has made them suddenly bad at the game. These guys are still a top 16 team. They are still more than capable of impressing. And against a team like Hour Zero, this is the perfect iron to sharpen themselves on. So I'm quite excited to see these two clash. Maybe I could hope for a less chaotic one than our last game, but frankly, I'm not counting on it.
And if you yourself are looking for an iron to sharpen yourself or your knife set upon, and you find that maybe you haven't quite got the money to hand to buy said iron to sharpen your equipment on, then, oh boy, have we got a solution for you, because Opinion Outposts are here not just to sponsor the Trial of Champions, but also to give you guys the opportunity to earn a little bit of scratch yourself. And if you're thinking, well, that sounds too good to be true, surely this is incredibly complicated and involved, and involves filing of taxes and submission of resumes. Nope, couldn't be simpler. All you've got to do, log on to Opinion Outpost and start submitting just what you think about stuff. Like there will be guided questions, or you're not just going to pile in and start saying, I think this about cats, I think this about whatever. You'll be responding to questions, I think. Yeah, that's definitely the case. But log on in your downtime when you've got nothing better to be doing with your time, and just generate free income. It really couldn't be simpler. Just log on to Opinion Outpost, and if you want that link with even less work in it for you guys, ! Opinion Outpost in the chat, and that'll give you everything you need to know about this.
You know what I was doing while you were making that A+ segue, and then also giving me anxiety?
Staring deeply into my eyes?
Well, that's kind of a constant. They're so beautiful. I was also on, the green screen doesn't work. I'm on opinionoutpost.com right now, even though you totally can't see it. And it says, get paid for your opinions, and it's giving me helpful information about how to join and make a little extra money on the side. So
yeah, Fibble is here with his invisible block from the future that lets him access Opinion Outpost. And speaking of being in the future, moving over into the wonderful future world of Overwatch, we're starting off on our control map today, which is going to be Lijiang Tower. And I think in our previous round, we saw some maybe slight deviations from what we'd expect to be run from the standard for our teams. Do we think our Zero and Tea Party are likely to run us something wacky, or can we expect the meta from these guys?
I was honestly expecting Wrecking Ball, though of course both of these teams could change like right now and make me look silly, but I was expecting some Wrecking Ball here. It was used to great effect last game, but the Winston and the Reinhardt are not bad picks either. Some interesting style clashes, but also some very similar compositions coming through.
Ooh, well, that's an unfortunate start. Antol was able to find My Crazy Cat, and that's a lot of the DPS taken offline for our Zero. They need an equalizer kill more or less now if they want to keep themselves in this. Charlie's doing a great job here of being a Brawl Winston, playing right in amongst the rest of the enemy team, but they have now traded out. Amadian down, and Vita able to put in a lot more burst damage here on the Reinhardt, helps the Pure frags that a little bit quicker. Anton now away in the back, causing trouble, mimicking what we saw from Traces early on in the series, just by drawing attention, drawing focus, making people have to turn around and find other things to look at here. Vita's able to find one pick onto the D-Mech here, so Pure taken out of the fight for now. Neither team really properly in charge of this fight just yet, though.
No, and I mean, they're building primals and coalescences already. We have both tank ultimates about to come online for Hour Zero, which could drastically change the course of this fight. Hour Zero did just cap it first, though.
Oh, shatter out from Vita. I think the bubble didn't come out quite quickly enough, and Pure and Hyung both went down on that one. In fact, the hack comes through onto Pure as well. There's the EMP out from Freedom, but doesn't catch Tensa. Tensa with the sound barrier out, and I hope people survive through that one. There's another EMP, and Amadian not able to get theirs out. We actually see that coming through from My Crazy Cat, but it gets focused down by Hyung and taken out of the fight. And we have the point flip. We've got 23% capped here for our Zero, and this is the first time it looks like the fight is over.
Yeah, I mean, a crazy extended fight, lots of ultimates coming through, already building up halfway or more to some of them. Maxwell with a great EMP, or rather, I believe he just swapped, excuse me. Freedom with a good EMP, but like you said, did not catch Tensa. Tensa has been around since before the EMP into sound barrier relationship existed. He was one of the forerunners of understanding that mechanic, and you are not going to catch him off guard without a major fight on your hands.
Coalescence into Coalescence, the sword fight begins. Nobody really getting it upper hand on that one. Vita gets the shatter online. Charlie still a long way from having that happen, but Amadian with the Death Blossoms able to find at the very least his opposite number, and then it's back over onto the primary. Fire gets the work down on another, and Tea Party surge back onto the point. It cost them a couple of ults, but they have now managed just about, very nearly, almost there to get the flip.
Very importantly, Freedom has maintained his EMP, and there is going to be a window where he has that, and Tensa does not have a sound barrier to answer. Our Zero need to be smart about extending this fight and playing, in terms of positioning, playing smart and waiting for that EMP, getting as few people caught in it as possible, and then having Tensa swoop in after he's built it. Maybe initiating with their own EMP to buy themselves some time could be the answer.
There it is. EMP for EMP, but crucially, Maxwell's didn't catch Freedom, so Freedom was able to drag theirs off as well, but it's My Crazy Cat and Tensa that start to make this work. Self-destruct comes out from Salty, won't find anything except a little bit of space here. Pure's going to hold on to their own for this one, but I think given how heavily they're looking to lose this fight, they probably want to hold on to it until the next one. Yeah, you'll see that not triggered there as the D-Mech comes through. They're going to hold on to that and hope they can find some value in the next fight.
Right, and the important takeaway there is that both EMPs went off, but Maxwell's went off first and denied follow-up to Freedom's EMP. There was no one there to come in and try and take advantage of that weakened Hour Zero team, because it was a good EMP, but no one could get there in time to take advantage of it before the healers were able to do their thing and keep everyone alive.
I'm looking at a big combo potentially here from Tea Party. It all revolves around Charlie getting the shatter in over around Vita, and he does actually find the pick. The shatter comes through, and the follow-up is there to take Tensa out of the fight, who did have the sound barrier there and ready to go, but it is now overtime, and My Crazy Cat is in with the Death Blossom ready to go. Waits out the defense matrix, forces them back, uses the Wraith Walk to get out of the way of the self-destruct that finds nothing. We've also lost Anto over the side here. But with Vita going down into 5v6, Hour Zero down. Surge back in with the sound barrier at their back, ready to go. EMP comes off, strips that away, but Freedom gives their life to get that off, and there's nobody there really to follow up. And Maxwell survived. There it is, the EMP Death Blossom Coalescence combo. It's a 3 for Hour Zero looking to win the fight and cap the first point here on Lijiang.
Maxwell has been such a bright spot for these teams that he's been on. He's rotated through a couple over the course of the past couple months because this is tier 2, and that's how that works. But generally speaking, he is so flexible, so capable, great understanding on a macro level of how to play all these heroes. He is so much more than a mechanical, skilled player. He is someone who understands the dynamics between whatever he's playing and whatever he's playing against. These EMPs have not always been, huge 6-man, ridiculous, awesome pew-pew light shows, but they have done what they've needed to secure victories for his team. Tensa as well, really stepping up there. Went down early in that fight, but it almost worked out better for Hour Zero because he came back halfway through that extended last fight with a sound barrier and got them back in it when they were a man down already. So Hour Zero, great confidence and great coordination here as we get on the point.
It's a classic. Sim TP straight into the point, and a big ball there from the secondary fire of Maxwell right into Amelian, forces him out for now. Hack's going to interrupt Salty, and that's a lot of his utility taken offline for the next few seconds. My Crazy Cat away onto the high ground. One pick already for Hour Zero, and Tea Party battered and bruised. They retreat, they regroup, and Freedom's going to be coming back in on the Doomfist here.
I like it, especially against the Sigma. I think it's a great way to push through these double shields. Doomfist doesn't really care about them too much, and his displacement is great for kind of throwing them off. Sigma, though, is one of Salty's signature picks.
Ooh, Crazy Cat takes a lot of damage on that one. They very quickly scouted him out on that one, thanks to Pure getting the vision on that one. Tea Party back out again, and Hour Zero still holding on, uncontested for at least the next couple seconds. It's a big charge out. Vita in a bit of an awkward position, stunned up, and the Coalescence is not enough to help him survive through that. And Tea Party, they see when they've got the advantage, and they press it and press it hard. They will secure the flip.
Bit of an expensive fight. They do have the self-destruct and the sound barrier, coming up pretty soon, and the DPS ult's not far behind. So an extended fight is not the worst thing here for Tea Party, but they're going to have to outlast the advantage created by the photon barrier from Maxwell, as well as the shatter potentially from Vita, and a couple more ults besides, actually. Hour Zero coming into this pretty stacked.
Surprised we did not see the TP onto the high ground to get Vita into position. A lot of damage done there with the Gravitic Flux, but Vita's the one that goes down first. Photon Barrier committed by Maxwell as well, and he's desperately trying to work his way around that one and find some value. There's my Crazy Cat, the TP into the back. Death Blossom comes out from Armedian and also from my Crazy Cat, and that is Reaper for Reaper for Reaper for Reaper for Reaper in the kill feed. My Crazy Cat still up, finally deals with Armedian, wants to work down the Lucio of Antol, who's down to a fraction of his HP pool. Tag back in, possible here for Pure. Maxwell finds Hyung, and we are still keeping this going, but it's looking pretty certain we'll see the flip here for Hour Zero.
I mean, nice little stall there from Tea Party, but yeah, that was not going to go too well. Maxwell does go down there. I love just hearing, oh, my Crazy Cat, with, you lovable scamp. It's just such a fun name. Freedom actually kind of trying to figure out where he's going to rotate here on this Doomfist. Tea Party coming in with the ult advantage. They're just going to have to weather that initial storm from Aramori and her Coalescence as Hour Zero pushes towards 70% on the point.
Of course, they will have Hyungs to answer that one, so expect those to be popped within a couple of animation frames. In fact, that looked to be more or less on top of each other on that one. Charlie with the shatter, 4 on the ground. No sound barrier for anybody, but it's a 1-for-1. Maxwell able to find Freedom here. It's a big charge in from Charlie. Beats are going to go down here as well, and Charlie gets pushed back. It's my Crazy Cat with another Death Blossom. Is this the situation to use it in, though? Or we get the Flux out. This is a nice opener. Armedian going to go down here. Maxwell trades out as Freedom punches back in. Salty uses the Kinetic Grass to buy a little bit more durability. And my Crazy Cat comes in with the Death Blossom. Finds the double. Freedom pulled off the Meteor Strike, but didn't find too much with that. And now it's 99-56 with Hour Zero still in control of the point for now. Hyung exhausting all of his resources, no longer has the Coalescence, whereas Aramori has that momentarily out the back of the sound barrier. Now out from Tensa as well. Armedian booped up into the air on the Death Blossom, means that he's well out of the way of anybody to do any meaningful damage with that, but Tea Party have found a quick couple of picks here. If they can find a few more, they are looking at a flip.
Yep, it looks pretty flippable here for Tea Party. Shatter at the end, I suppose they just really wanted to secure that fight. I might have liked to hold that if I was them. That said, they are going to have the Meteor Strike and the Coalescence coming online for this next one. They're going to have to watch out for the Shatter and the Flux again. These tank ultimates coming online pretty fast for Hour Zero. If they can make something happen with that, it's not going to matter what Tea Party does, because they are going to be flat on their backs, lifted into the air, and then thrown on the ground like a weird wrestling match or something.
They're looking for the interaction here between the Reinhardt and the Doomfist to get around the back. The Shatter did come through, hits 2, but for now, it's Hour Zero that are bleeding on the back of that one with my Crazy Cat down. Salty chucking in the rock, can't find any stuns with that one, certainly no kills in the back of it just yet, and it's Freedom with the double that starts to turn things around here for Tea Party. It's getting very close to last fight territory here. Hour Zero probably have one more go at this one as Tensor is removed from the map. They don't get another go. It's 100-99, and we get to go to another round here on Lijiang.
Tea Party just managed to kind of play Ring Around the Rosie long enough and withstand those ultimates, win that weird wrestling metaphor that I was trying to make that I shouldn't, because I talk about video games for a living. And just in general, Hour Zero fell a little flat in that last moment. That Shatter and that Flux were supposed to be a really big combo, and I'm pretty sure Vita shattered the statue out in the courtyard, which it probably went through a little.
It was a very threatening statue.
I mean, hey man, if it looks dangerous, you just gotta press Q sometimes, and don't even think about it, just do it. But I still feel like Hour Zero are maybe kicking themselves about losing that opportunity, because there was a pretty clear win condition on that fight, and it just didn't quite happen. Now the Junkrat on the field, yes please.
It's the Control Center special with the Sim and the Junkrat both in play here, and it's going to be this first pick from one of these DPS that really solidifies how this fight goes. Hour Zero for now playing up in White Room. They have the high ground advantage. Maxwell makes a rotation over to the side here to spam damage and give Tea Party another angle to be concerned with, but a bit of incoming fire coming his way, and I feel like Salty has the potential to be the difference maker here over the Diva of Pure, who will get demeked. They've already lost my Crazy Cat. Vita's going to go down as well here. And this is another very trading fight. I think it's a little bit difficult to call how this is going to go. Salty's going to go down, and I'm now fairly confident, looking like Tea Party with the initial cap.
Yeah, they went from I'm not quite sure to okay, never mind, I'm very sure in the course of about a second, which is sometimes just how it is in Overwatch. I want to hype up Salty, even though they lost that fight right there, because he's such a playmaker. He's so willing to flex around and find a solution, which they desperately need right now, being a man down. Dueling Riptires coming out there are going to shut me up real quick.
Dueling Coalescences, and it will be Maxwell that finds the first pick here as the Riptire takes Freedom out of the fight, who was very close to having that Photon Barrier online, but Salty's going to go down here as well. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Nice big pin from Vita, and both Reinhardts on their merry way to the ground there. Care of a pin from Vita. Back over on the point, however, Freedom's back in on the Symmetra. Have they done enough here to secure this? Maxwell's going to go down. Photon Barrier's out, and Freedom is ducking and diving, but it's too little, too late. Freedom going to go down to this one as Tensor gets them with the Sound Barrier. Pure as the self-destruct. It's in over the top. It lands up high. Graviton surges out as well. No kills in the back of that one, but Salty has a lot of charge. Vita ready to swing through whatever comes his way. Will find the pick onto Antol as well, holding on to the Shatter. Amarian down, and there is the option here for a tag onto point, but this has got to be the flip for Hour Zero.
And good on Hour Zero here. There's always the chance that the fight stalls out on Control, and it takes a long time, and you have to commit more than you want. But Hour Zero understood, guys, it's okay, we have this. Hold on to that Photon Barrier, hold the Shatter, hold the Coalescence. They have a great 3-pack here to really maintain their defense as they get started on their first hold, it feels like, in a long time.
Yeah, Charlie took a lot of damage on the way in there, mostly care of Maxwell, who's getting a lot closer to having this Riptire back online and ready to go. Shadow's available for Vita. There's no Charlie to worry about. It's a free Earth Shadow if you want it, my friend. Looks like Tea Party are going to back out, and they know that free Shadow is there, and they don't want it sent in their way.
Yeah, I mean, good on them to just back out immediately. A lot of teams will really try and scrap out these fights, but at the end of the day, sometimes you've just lost a fight and need to get out. Control, time is of the essence here. You cannot waste it getting staggered out on fights like that, so good on them there.
Marian with a Riptire in. TP takes Maxwell out. Vita's down nice and quick as well. It's a 4v6, it's a 3v6, and it's looking good for Tea Party to come and get the flip. This is such a seesaw of a map.
It's almost good for Hour Zero though there, because it went so fast that they didn't have time to try and commit their ultimates. So they're coming online. They could grab Tire here. They could Shatter. The Tea Party though have some answers as well. A Photon Barrier could do a lot of work blocking stuff like that, and a Shatter of their own.
There it
When
is.
properly placed, here we go.
Gets them around one side. 1 kill on the back of the Tire. We'll see the D-Mech come through as well. And Madian's still up and finding kills. Tensor goes down. Vita takes a lot of damage on the way through. Has to rotate out of the line of fire. The Shadow comes out, but killed in the middle of the animation. Very unfortunate. And it's overtime. Tea Party in control of the point for now. Salty gets worked down. Maxwell's now back and finds one pick onto Antol, but it's a long way from done here for Hour Zero. Tensor down, Maxwell claps back again with another pick. There's so much bogarting here, so much ability for Tea Party to just block Hour Zero from getting onto the point in the first instance and buy time for the kills to come through. Salty's now here on the wrecking ball, but it's too little, too late, and Tea Party, a team who have listed that nobody really plays this game on this team anymore, will get the first map points.
I feel like that's a kind of a line that our last winning team there might pull, you know, the greatest team in the world and all that. Yeah, we don't even play this game anymore. Like, really, who cares about Overwatch? Oh, yeah, what a super casual game for us. We're just going to come in and win the game and be crazy about it. And we're going to have awesome rip tire kills and shatters and photon barriers and stuff. But, you know, whatever. It's totally cool. It's fine.
It's cool. Yes, no biggie. No trouble. No trouble at all.
God,
yeah, it's. I think it's a nice highlight for how we can expect the rest of this series to go, because even though it was Tea Party taking the win, it was 3 maps in total, and it wasn't a complete shutout on Control Center. Like, there was a bit of back and forth there between Hour Zero and Tea Party. So, you know, we could be in for that map 5 here today.
I mean, there's always that chance, right? But I feel like, just like these fights, there's an equal chance for there to be a map 5 as there is for this just to be a total sweep. It's really just going to be decided in the moment, and we're just going to be stuck along for the ride, my dude. This is going to be interesting.
And it is pretty late or pretty early over here in EMEA, depending on how you want to classify that. So, as much as I'd like to see a map 5, a map 3 does get me to bed that little bit quicker. So I'm going to try and be unbiased in my casting, but I'm promising nothing. And we are looking to get into our second map here. It's going to be Dorado coming up next for our payload map for today. No side swaps, so I think that's going to be Hour Zero starting on the defense here.
Yep. I like Dorado here for sure. It's we're in a phase of the meta right now. You and I have talked about this, where a lot of maps are what's deciding what is played, and maps that allow for a sniper. You see some sniper play come in. You see that Widow Ash or a Widow Tracer style composition, and especially on Dorado second with that great high ground angle to set up on. It's definitely something we could see from both of these teams. Both of them with very capable sniper players, I feel. Both of them also not afraid to bust out Sombra Reaper and get in on some dive and really just brawl it out with one another. Some Moira Lucio coming through, lots of different options compositionally, especially on those first and third sections of the map that are a little more brawly, some tighter sightlines, I suppose. So lots of options here, but I feel that the team that's going to win, I won't do John Madden analysis here and say the team that's going to win is the one that scores more points. But the team that's going to win is the team that can maintain their adaptability through those different stages of the map and maintain their comfort, which actually brings me to Salty. Him playing Sigma is not something that we've seen a lot from other teams in this tournament or really any games recently, but he is just so good on the hero that seeing this pick does not surprise me at all. He is very good. I could see this being a big part of their kind of unique book of strategies to just set up around Salty on the Sigma and just build all their compositions around that proficiency. And so far, it hasn't fully worked. I mean, they did just lose control, but it didn't look like they were being blown out with it either. So plenty of opportunity here.
A Soldier Mirror coming out here, which, given that we're playing on the live patch with the new recoil pattern added for Soldier, is maybe not that surprising. It's a much more adaptable pick than it ever used to be. So high ground defense for starters here for Hour Zero. They've only got that one relatively small shield to work with, but my Crazy Cat's going to get the first pick here. It's the dive coming through from Charlie. Takes a huge amount of damage there from the sticky mines from Maxwell. Going to have to back out, but all the while, the payload is inching its way ever forward. And Hour Zero need to be quick to reposition to hold at that high ground. Otherwise, this might escape them, but they have started to rack up the kills here, and they might manage to actually keep hold of this high ground defense.
Hour Zero's composition is such a good like anti-dive poke comp. I talk a lot about compositions where, yeah, you might try and dive the other team, but you're never going to make it there with more than half your health. And Maxwell putting the sticky bombs out and getting away, Ramori applying that Discord orb to just add on that extra damage. It's so difficult for Tea Party to make rotations. They have to resort to these kind of unorthodox moves to just try and get into a fight that suits them.
Round the back stairs for Tea Party and up onto the high ground for Charlie, who will eventually work down Salty, separated as he was from his healers and the rest of his team. And now this is a great position for Tea Party. They've got the high ground here for Freedom, who like laser focuses down his opponents from a long range here. We'll see Hyung come also in with the Coalescence to try and keep his tanks alive through this aggressive push. Hour Zero have an opportunity to come back and recontest, particularly as Maxwell has the duplicate ready to go. It's not going to take much to get that Primal Rage online and really help stall out this cart and get the recontest available and online for the rest of Hour Zero. No picks on the back of that just yet. A lot of damage coming his way. Will go out of the duplicate form back into the Echo, and Aramori is going to go down in the same instant. There's the finishing beam. Won't find too much of that one. Actually does get the D-Mech, and Vita's back here with the whole hog, able to find the double, finds the D-Mech Diva. Have Hour Zero now done enough here to stop the bleeding from Tea Party. A lot looking likely. Tea Party find a quick couple here, including Salty. It's Vita alone on the point, who will get worked down by Antol, and that's going to be where Tea Party cap point A and take us through the streets.
So in a quick fight that favored Tea Party, in a slightly extended fight it favored Hour Zero because of their ult advantage, but in a much longer fight it favored Tea Party again because of the spawn distance. So once that fight got past the ultimates phase and Hour Zero pressed all their Qs except that Gravitic's Flux because Salty went down a little early, Tea Party were able to just mass back up and just keep pushing. So a slight delay, some time killed off the bank for sure for Hour Zero, but ultimately I don't feel like there was going to be much they could do there if Tea Party were able to withstand it. Now they have some ultimates of their own coming online and a great opportunity with Freedom on the high ground to set up for a good defense.
Amadian went for Force Bomb Connect there, but couldn't quite find it. Doesn't have the recall left because of the fancy footwork that just came out, and it means it's a 5v6 now for Hour Zero. Charlie's going to be down. He will be back relatively quickly because of the leak that comes with the Winston. But Salty has the high ground, which is exactly where you want your Sigma here. Like, so much control of the space on the high ground for a Sigma, particularly a Sigma of Salty's caliber.
Right, I mean, and like I said, these compositions are all about enabling and working around Salty's Sigma and just providing that extra support and giving him the angles, and stuff like this is exactly what they need.
I mean, this is a big stacking of ults here with the Coalescence and the sound barrier to keep Freedom alive through his attack visor, which hasn't manifested anything just yet. In the meantime, Maxwell is going to pick up the Diva, immediately taken out of the mech and into the Pilot Diva form. We'll see the natural Diva bomb coming through there from Pure, but again, just to get the mech back, not to secure any kills. There's the first pick of the fight. It's Amadian going down, but equally traded back very quickly with Salty going down as well. Maxwell able to keep that low ground position for now, whilst my Crazy Cat plays all the way back here on the high ground. Can't around this next corner from being capped into point C, and Hour Zero don't have much to work with.
No, they really don't. So I feel like this push, they're going to get what they can in terms of just stopping. If they can get a great pick off of this high ground, then so be it. But if I'm them, I try and hold on and just build whatever I can. Go for the sustained push, maybe go for a little double monkey action, because Maxwell and Vita combining on a primal here pretty soon could be pretty deadly.
Ooh, Amadian, oh, actually did find the connect onto Aramori, didn't see the stick, assumed that enough had been done there to allow Aramori to escape. So one pick on the back of that immediately raised Tensa and Aramori doing a very good job here of keeping themselves together and in the fight on this one. So still in this and fighting, but Tea Party have managed a quick double here. Freedom now has a tactical visor of their own. Lots of people down on the low ground to aim at, but not quite so much high ground action here. And because of the high ground for Hour Zero, they're able to get out of the way somewhat from the tactical visor. But the kills are still coming through here for Tea Party. Maxwell, once more to duplicate, picks up the Winston again this time. Knows that there's a lot of potential here to stall out this point and just burn time off the clock. We are now very close to the minute mark here for Tea Party on their offense, and a lot of focus fire comes the way of Maxwell as they hit the Primal Rage, taking them out of their duplicate form. Aramori now with the Transcendence keeps his team up and alive as Maxwell finds the pick onto Charlie, but gets run down by Freedom on the legs. Aramori finds the pick onto My Crazy Cat, and with 0.01 meters left to go on the point, I think we're looking at a cap on B.
Right, and it's crazy how good Tea Party are at just withstanding, weathering the storm from Hour Zero, saying, yeah, use all your ults, maybe pick off one or two of us, that's fine. We're going to back up, we're going to go for a quick re-engage, and you are not going to be ready. You're going to use everything you've got, and we'll still have something left. They're coming online now with both of their DPS ultimates. They had to use a lot to kind of weather that storm, definitely. My Crazy Cat, yes, is built up again almost to another TAC visor. I feel like this is a much shorter cooldown for him. But Tea Party have been really good so far at just weathering that storm and keeping this push going consistently.
It's a beautiful bit of tracking there from My Crazy Cat, but it's Freedom that gets the Tactical Visor on line first and puts in a whole lot of pressure there, forcing Hour Zero around the corner. My Crazy Cat is back and he's got the high ground. Freedom makes himself scarce, ducking into the tunnels, and the dive comes through. Between the defense matrix and the bubble, there's not a lot that ultimate can do, so whilst it was quick, it wasn't of much use. Charlie dives in looking for supports, gets the Primal Rage, and keeps the jumps going, finds Tensor, knocks him out of the fight, and Tea Party are rounding this final corner with the payload. Hour Zero, they're going to get a little bit of a chance of a recontest here, but it's going to be scraggly, if anything. In fact, they don't even manage it. That is as far as we're going to go. 1 minute almost on the clock for Tea Party.
I mean, such a great... I really want to talk about that Primal from Charlie, because it was such a great... Not even just to jump and chase after the Mercy, but to understand that if you combo it right, you're going to have way too much burst for her to ever get away. Great job from him. Great awareness. And just understanding of the geometry, right? Coming in as Winston saying, I've got you in a very small hallway. You are in danger. And then doing what it takes to just seal the deal on that fight. Certainly not single-handedly, but playing a major role there to really bring that in and just knock Hour Zero completely off axis. They had no answer for that once the Mercy was down, and no way to sustain in front of this just slow, consistent roll from Tea Party. And yeah, they cap with about a minute left, but they still finish the map. And that's not always guaranteed on Dorado. So good spot for them so far.
It's certainly a pretty impressive push. Hour Zero, whilst they have managed a couple of fight wins, it feels to me like they were permanently, if not on the back foot, at least not equipped for what Tea Party were trying to do. I feel like My Crazy Cat, whilst they were able to exhibit some very good tracking and very quick generation of ultimates, like the actual impact this pick has had against Tea Party has been pretty minimal.
You're exactly right. I mean, the ult building is great. Getting value out of those ultimates is another thing entirely. I feel Tea Party were just doing a good job of, like I said, disengaging, denying value from those ultimates, no matter how fast they came in, and coming back and getting more done with less. And that in Overwatch is generally a pretty good way to go about things.
Well, and Marion will have the pocket of the Mercy of Ansor at his back, so a lot of damage potential out from Marion. Expect a fairly quick bob here. Vita's pretty happy just to ride the cart for now and send out the occasional hook. And so far, Hour Zero moving in, more or less, uncontested.
I thought you were going to say send out the occasional tweet. I was totally there for that joke, but, you know, it is what it is. Ooh. Maxwell getting some picks now. He says, hey, guys, there's a game going on still. Please pay attention.
Yeah, Maxwell with the double there, and I think My Crazy Cat did a really good job of just adding pressure. Like, they were all trying to avoid My Crazy Cat, but then Maxwell just swoops in with a focusing beam and gets them, and he's still there piling in the pressure. In fact, this is an even quicker cap of point A than we saw from Tea Party.
Yeah, and it's a great system from the two of them, that DPS duo. It's saying, I'm going to run them out of hiding, and you're just going to be waiting there ready for them. And it means both of them are building their ults pretty quickly. Like you said, though, Amadian is getting pretty close to that Bob already. The damage boost coming in pretty clutch. Especially getting picks like that, he is well ahead of the pack.
Oh, wow. Somehow Tensor gets the res off here, so Maxwell not out of the fight just yet, but at least for Well, okay, no, he's
nope, there he goes.
damage call on that one. Amadian nearly has the res online and ready to go. I think Maxwell's going to have to rethink this fairly soon because Amadian might have his number on this one. Amadian and Freedom together at the very least.
Right. I mean, just so much pressure on an airborne target, no matter how good you are, especially with just the sheer amount of damage you can do, and from Bob. But my Crazy Cat is actually, he maybe heard us and is starting to get some value out of these ultimates in a big way. That is exactly what Hour Zero needed.
Yeah, oh, nice bit of focus there. Takes Amadian's Bob out of the fight, and yeah, my Crazy Cat definitely heard us chatting about him there and decides to show us exactly what he can do with that ult.
This next fight's going to be pretty key, though. Can Hour Zero get value out of their ultimates around this EMP? Better yet, could they take out Freedom before and deny it from coming through to get them this next point? They have a lot to work with, but if they get EMP'd, they might as well not have any ultimates at all.
There it is, EMP. Doesn't catch Aramori, doesn't catch either support, and we will see Tensa throw in the Valkyrie in a valiant effort to try and keep his team alive through this, but with all the utility taken away from Hour Zero, it doesn't seem likely that that's going to turn their way. We'll see the duplicate come through. Maxwell picks up the Sombra, wants a little bit more damage to get the EMP, throws it out, hits 4, won't see the combo just yet, but my Crazy Cat will find Anto, and Maxwell is still there trying to work down Hyung, who's forced to use the Coalescence to keep himself in the fight. Freedom will find Salty, and now it's Pure on the cart with the self-destruct ready to go. Maxwell's able to find one here, but with a dive up onto the high ground from Charlie, a lot of space being taken. Actually, Tensa able to get another res off here onto my Crazy Cat.
Charlie popping the Primal there. I don't know if he was really low and felt it was necessary to stay alive, or if he was going to try and go back and start putting pressure on to maybe prevent the res and just wasn't quick enough. But either way, yeah, Tensa getting that res gets Hour Zero back in the fight quicker. Not right now, but quicker than they would be otherwise. Freedom now on the Tracer instead of the Sombra. Maybe wants to deny that duplicate target because it's such a strong option for Maxwell, but can also put some great pressure on these tanks.
Self-destruct in, Tensa down, but they traded out. Charlie's going to go down here as well, as Maxwell will find that pick. There's the D-Mech traded for Vita themselves with the whole hog. Hour Zero a little bit bruised here, but having taken Freedom out of the fight, they've momentarily got an advantage, but Maxwell did not spot the reposition from Arian, rotates through the low ground and finds a quick 2-tap onto Maxwell. This is a great time burn for Tea Party.
Great time burn from them, but they aren't forcing Hour Zero off the high ground. They're able to do a lot of great rotations here to try and re-engage on these fights. Whether or not any of them will work is one thing, but at least Hour Zero are maintaining their positional advantage as best they can.
Man, I feel like my Crazy Cat has held this for maybe 40 seconds now, looking for somewhere to put it, but not being comfortable enough on the high ground to really make it work. And Median now getting pressured, doesn't have the support at his back to make that work, does get the bob off before the death comes through. Amedian is down, and Maxwell jumps into the back with the Primal Rage from the duplicated Winston. Back into the fray, looking to generate a little more ultimate charge, and you can just see the Primal Rage coming off here, and a lot of space being bought here by Maxwell. Doesn't need the frags, just needs the raw CC. Vita back in the Wrecking Ball to keep the fight going that little bit longer, and Tensa pops the Valkyrie. Suddenly a lot harder for Tea Party to burn through the healing that's chaining from person to person to person on Hour Zero. And this is slowly but surely Hour Zero mounting the offense they need to push this through into point C.
That fight was all about the numbers. Maxwell swapping to a Winston and then getting Primal in a small room means an extra 1,000 HP. Tensa popping the Valkyrie halfway through that fight when everyone was nice and clumped up means lots more healing. So overall, the health difference, the effective health difference between these two teams was more than enough for Hour Zero just to whittle Tea Party down. Freedom now back on that Sombra, building well up to that EMP as Amadian swaps to the Reaper, perhaps trying to counter the Wrecking Ball and the duplicated Winstons that have been coming through. But we'll see if that's enough, because there's a lot of time on this bank for Hour Zero.
That's a couple of really quick frags there for Tea Party. EMP now available for Freedom as well. Probably able to hold this on until the next fight. And just look at the battery, the salvo available here for Tea Party compared to Hour Zero, who have a minefield and possibly a duplicate Transcendence. Like, this is looking really good for Tea Party in this next fight.
What matters for them is how many of these they use. They have to try and hold on to a few because of the difference in time mix here.
We'll see 3 ults out now from Tea Party, and the only kill to come out on the back of anything committed here so far has been for Tea Party. Maxwell's going to get traded out, though, as Amedian's able to work them over with the Hellfire shotguns. Self-destruct in from Pure buys a couple of seconds and a little more space. Salty starting to come alive now, finds a couple of frags. My Crazy Cat holds on to the high ground. Won't want to give that up anytime soon. Salty's going to find Freedom. There's the DMEC through as well. My Crazy Cat currently uncontested as the payload rounds the final corner, Thibble.
Keep an eye on this duplication from Maxwell. It's probably going to be a Winston, I feel. It's a good zoning tool, especially with the Primal, if you can build it up. But he's got to contest against the Sound Barrier that just came out, and then the Reaper that's going to be keeping a lot of pressure on. Actually duplicates onto Reaper.
Yeah, and a big threat here onto the main tank. Charlie's at a bit of a risk here. Death Blossom is now out, boots away. A lot of that damage mitigated and now out of the duplicate form. Freedom's back in on the Doomfist, and Our Zero, they spot when they're not in this fight. Okay, no, maybe they don't. Salty with a big lift there. Doesn't find anything. Are we looking at a swap here from Salty? That was a big, weird investment. Yeah, okay, we might be seeing a change here. Vita's moving over onto the Reinhardt. I don't understand that up from Salty if this isn't a swap.
I mean, it did force the coalescence. Hyung is now swapping, it looks like, to the Ana. And they see the swaps coming through. They see the Rhine Diva and say, okay, yeah, we can match that. That's fine. I like the Ana over the Moira personally. I think the anti-nades can be really good if you can avoid Salty's defense matrix. Or if Maxwell can perhaps get a manual hack off as he swaps to Sombra.
I think you've got to hope that you can get the manual hack here onto a Marian, who's got the only ultimate currently on the board here. And, you know, it's a big potential fight winner in the right place. See them teleporting up onto the high ground, pull the trigger on it. Everybody makes themselves nice and scarce, so no need to shut that down just yet. But Vita in a dangerous position there, was momentarily slept. Marian couldn't quite get the damage in, but is being a big old nuisance here. We'll see Freedom taken down, Sound Barrier out, Antal manually hacked here as well, self-destruct in over the top, and it's a trade as Marian and Salty both go down here. Aramori, she's got that coalescence at the back, helps secure the charge through the pin into the kill. It's overtime. It's deep into overtime now, Thibble, and Tea Party are starting to come back in. My Crazy Cat's got the Death Blossom, finds one, finds two, finds a third with a primary fire, looking for one more to secure the frag. Now it's into the Wraith Walk here for a minion. Sound Barrier out for what's left of Our Zero. And Tea Party are tagging back in, but I'm feeling like Our Zero have got the momentum at their side. But no time left in the bank for them. This is 1 minute versus nearly 2 minutes.
Right. I mean, double the time bank there. That also opens up a lot of time for some extra pushes, some overtime pushes, getting the cart a little bit farther before you really have to start worrying about being able to get on or off the cart. Great value from My Crazy Cat. Great Death Blossom there at the end. Really started closing things out, coming in clutch. But that was enabled as well by his tanks and by his support players, just kind of whittling down Tea Party, pushing them back slowly but surely. Hyung not getting a ton of value out of the anti-nades, not as much as I would have wanted. The one that I saw was onto a Reaper, who of course immediately Wraith formed it away, and also avoided a charge with that. So, you know, that's a big unlucky, as we call them in the industry.
Yeah. And it looks like we might be seeing more of the same here from Our Zero. And whilst individually Maxwell and Crazy Cat, I think, have found moments of individual value, I feel like in the longer fights that we're seeing here, the hacks and the sustain and damage that come through from Freedom and Amedian here on the Sombra Reaper just favor Tea Party far too strongly for Our Zero are running to really work out.
Absolutely. And I think as soon as Our Zero sees this comp, especially sees the Rhine and the Reaper, Vita will swap over and Salty might swap too. We could see a Rhine Diva mirror again. That would not be unheard of. But I like the Tensa Maxwell Echo Mercy comp. I think adding that little extra airborne element, assuming he doesn't get hacked, can be pretty effective.
Very vulnerable. Called the dive, in comes Pure, down goes Maxwell. Can they successfully camp the body here? No, they can't. Okay, Tensa brings back in. Pure is going to take a lot of damage here as well, but not DMEC. There we go. Actually, DMEC just comes through, which is as good as a kill here. Like, the pilot form of the Diva can do a lot of damage, but it's not the biggest thing in the world to have in the fight at your back. Vita goes down. Lewis is the 1v1 against him. Well, it might not be a 1v1. I think we did also get the hack in on top of that one as well. There's the hack onto Salty. And honestly, Freedom is a real difference maker here. Like, Our Zero aren't being allowed to play.
Right. I mean, he's already almost got his EMP. I'm amazed Vita hasn't swapped because I don't think the Roadhog is the play here. Against a Sombra who's just holding forward and a Reaper who's not afraid. Yeah, this is ugly.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. Did see a couple of frags come through there for Hours Zero, but look at where this hold is happening. We're into overtime, and it's down to my crazy cat to just break dance on the point to try and keep alive. Tensa tags back in for the same. Vita's desperately going to be looking for a tag back in on the Wrecking Ball, but that is it. Tea Party have held just outside of spawn on Dorado. That is a phenomenal hold.
That was really good. I feel like Hour Zero forgot how much time they had and thought, yeah, let's just build up our ultimates and try and break through. No, dude. You have 59 seconds on the board. Or, sorry, it was brought up to a minute. Oh, you have 60 seconds. Wow. Swap to that Reinhardt right away. The Roadhog is just a battery, just pure ult charge. Like, that is not what you need. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is just there to be hacked and shot at. Swap to the Reinhardt. I don't really like that play at all from them. I think they were just hoping for some pick potential. One hook can absolutely change the course of a fight, but he was not getting them. Not with Charlie just standing there, not with Amadian just being very aware, using his Wraith forms effectively, and Freedom translocating as soon as Vita so much as looked at him. I don't think that was the play at all for Hour Zero, and now they have to do the same thing. I do, though, like the Mei. I like this Mei a lot. There are lots of strategies involving Mei and holding right where they need to be holding right now. And if any composition, frankly, was going to do it, it'd probably be this one.
But for Tea Party, you mentioned that Hour Zero didn't have time to just stop and farm their ults. With an extra minute in the bank, Tea Party can do this. And realistically, even just a backline assassination here from Freedom, finding a support and taking that out of the mix, is enough for a win here. You can already see the hacks come through onto Tensa. Don't think they found the kill. In the meantime, Maxwell is trying to rein in these right clicks and find something, but so far it is all just into Charlie's shield. Freedom's at 43% and climbing here on the EMP. Like, this is going to be online incredibly quickly. Like, and once that is online, you've got nothing that mitigates all the damage that will come in on the back of it. Vita's down, they trade it out. Charlie's going to fall as well. Salty finds a Median, and Hour Zero look like they've at the very least held on for now as the Coalescence comes out from Aramori and she secures the team fight.
Right. I mean, good on her for that at least. And yeah, Coalescence builds fast, so you definitely just spend that when you got them, right? But the spawn advantage is so distinct for Tea Party, they really just need to build ults and not get caught by the Mei, and in theory, they should have it. So Hour Zero need to be playing this perfectly.
There it is, EMP. The second it was online, it came out, but it hit nobody from Hour Zero. What was that EMP? That's so unfortunate.
It got blocked by the ice block. It blocked line of sight of the EMP. That was huge for Maxwell.
Geo finds one with the sound barrier. Here's the Death Blossom from Amadian. The EMP might not have done it, but the rest of the team firing on all cylinders with the freeze online, even through all of that. Find the cap, and Tea Party take us to match point 2-0 in their favor.
Right. I mean, strong adaptation there from Hour Zero. Like I said, I like the Mei play a lot, and they're canceling that EMP with an ice block is really, what more can you ask for from the guy? But at the end of the day, with the spawn disadvantage, just because of such a huge forward hold, they did not do themselves any favors on their defense, and there was not much more they could do to really just prevent the inevitable on that push.
Yeah, I do feel like the defense that came there on the final point for Hour Zero was probably about the best read you could possibly have on that one. You know, large bulk healing, lots of ability to brawl, CC, things to interrupt EMPs, pretty useful. It's just that there's really only so long you can hold out against some of the ultimates that Tea Party had in their favor. The self-destruct, the Death Blossom, there's just so much damage in such a small space of time. There's really nothing you can do to counter that.
Right, and even without the ultimates, if you lose one person, they're not going to be back for, 15, 20 seconds? Meanwhile, even if you take out half of the attacking team, see you in 6 seconds or so. We'll be right back. It's such a massive disadvantage. And that's just how it shook out because of their defense in the first place, or rather their failed attack. and it was statistically quite unlikely. But they did put on a show, and they made it much closer than I frankly was going to predict. I think that May play was good. I think strategically there's a lot of depth there. Maxwell really enables them, much like Boat in our last match, just swapping to like 10 different heroes. Maxwell is that kind of player, and he is doing a great job so far of slotting in wherever Hour Zero needs him, even if it hasn't quite got them where they want to be. They are still 2-0 down. They would much rather have at least 1 point on the board, perhaps, but there are still glimmers of hope here. There's plenty of opportunity for that map 5.
Hour Zero not planning to go gentle into that good night. They have one more go to demonstrate that's going to be the case, but this is match point. One more win for Tea Party puts them forward in the winner's bracket. But before we bring you that final map, we are going to throw it to a quick break to give everybody a chance to cool off after that one, and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
There's spawn door. What the
Dude,
fuck?
Barkin, I wanted to so badly, and then you were like, be another spawn door, and I was like, yes, I have someone else to blame.
How to hit him with the spawn camp. Oh, look at it! Look at it!
I wish we were lobby hosts so I could go map.
Is there like an actual difference from expensive candles and cheap candles, or like should I not waste my money on expensive candles?
It depends on what you're trying to do with the candle.
Just smell nice. It's supposed to smell nice in my room.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably a difference, but not enough to
Like,
make you
but
really
for vanilla, is like expensive vanilla.
Probably just get whatever.
Or not expensive, but like a $5 candle and a $1 candle. Like, is there really?
I'm gonna say a $1 candle cuts enough corners to be bad, but a $5 candle at least has like some things that are good. Okay. That's my 2 cents. That being said, I've never bought a candle before.
I barely bought candles, and I surprisingly like them. They're nice.
Like, I got like a scented candle like a while back for something. It's just like, oh, this is pleasant. But also, it's like, it's just a candle, I guess.
Yo, green arrow. You there? Yo, green arrow.
He's muting and unmuting. He's here.
He's
dying. That was like Morse code.
It was like Morse code. Yeah, it was like Morse code. Oh, I can't read Morse code. I'm sorry.
He's flashing SOS, guys.
What is
it?
Okay, at my bombs play, this angle was pretty clean on the bomb, I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, that was so fucking weird.
Guys, I have a death I'm throwing.
They need, if they want to win, they need to stop trolling with.
Oh, yeah, you're mad.
You are so mad.
Yeah, wow, look at him press Q, guys, wow. Unlike me, I have to actually like aim it, but no, you can just press it in the vicinity and oh, everybody's dead. Wow, great play, Bon Tour.
Uprising Academy, they lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de baja gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend. Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today.
With what could be the final map of the evening. Tea Party currently at 2-0. Hour Zero need to start putting some points on the board right now, or that is it. They are down to the lower bracket. It's their map pick, and Thibault, we are on our way to Eichenwald.
I'm a fan of that. I can work with that for sure. It's another map like Dorado where you can see a lot of niche picks, a lot of comfort plays for sure. And if they want to keep trying this, like throw Salty on Sigma and see what we can do with it, or maybe switch to some snipers or some Pharah play, this would be the place to go. So like this pick, there is a good opportunity here for Hour Zero if they've got their strats coordinated right, because Tea Party have been slogging through them all. It's been quite effective and pretty entertaining to watch.
Oh, yeah. We've seen Maxwell a lot on the Echo, particularly on Dorado. And I wonder if the Pharah is also in their arsenal, because the defensive Pharah here on Eichenwald is a thing that's traditionally been very strong. And I would prefer to see that over the Echo, I think.
Potentially. I don't know. Maxwell really likes the Echo. I've seen him play a lot over the past couple months, and it is definitely a comfort pick for him. He is very good with it. He takes some notes from Fleta and likes to swap to all sorts of different heroes and just be all over the place and get some work done with pretty much all of them. Reaper's a little trickier perhaps, but his Winston swaps have been insane. And having that extra beef there on the map is really undeniably good. So it's an option for sure if they want to maintain their flexibility, but I do feel that Pharah definitely gives a little extra damage, especially when comboed with a Mercy. Lots of great burst and lots of good spots to get some barrages too. So yeah, either one is possible.
Yeah, I guess we've got to wait and see exactly what they're bringing out here. Tea Party, I'm kind of not expecting too big a change. The Sombra pick in particular, I feel has been working really, really well for them in the series so far today, and I would not be surprised to see that coming out here either.
Right, yeah, the Sombra has been super consistent. They're not afraid to swap between traditional dive tanks and like a Ryan Diva setup, So I think seeing both of those, just again, depending on where in the map they are, is perfectly possible. Maybe you start with the Reinhardt, swap to the Winston around Streets phase, maybe swap back during that last, where we're looking at right now, where these choke points start getting a lot smaller and Rein Shield starts getting a lot more effective. But the main tank options are pretty fluid throughout. It looks like both teams are starting on a Reinhardt, though the attacking team, of course, you never know for sure.
Wow, yeah.
And I like the Reaper here from Amadian as well. I think he's been getting a lot of work done with that and coordinating well with the Sombra to help focus down targets really effectively. Whoa, this arrow slit. Zooming in and out. I might get motion sickness. It's cool though. That's fine.
That's okay. We're clear of the arrows that it can't hurt you anymore. We're starting with Salty on the D with a little tap up onto the high ground to get a bit of information. And it is a mirror match. It is a pure mirror match between Hour Zero and Tea Party, and it's aggressive off the bat here from Tea Party, closing the distance. They want to get right up close and personal on the point and look for a couple of frags. My Crazy Cat closed the distance from the far side, and it's Vita with a fire strike that really starts the bleeding off here. And you know, if you're going to lose anything first, I feel like your main tank is probably the one you want to least lose first.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad for sure. It's really like, all right, everybody, just jump off, go next. My Crazy Cat putting tons of pressure on, and just in general, Hour Zero not being afraid to just walk up. You could see Tea Party really trying to posture aggressively, and that only works if the other team is afraid and starts to back up. But Hour Zero, even 2-0 down, are maintaining their confidence, meeting them head on, and that is exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see these guys getting too scared.
I feel like this entire thing now is a race to EMP, and Maxwell is just edging this out here. My Crazy Cat is able to find Charlie, and the Coalescence is out from Aramori, but that's already a fight win. We saw it last time. You take out the main tank, and that is it. It requires a massive frag immediately in response to equalize.
Right. I mean, it's so tough to come back from that. And now both teams are looking at an EMP. So both main tanks are probably going to go by the wayside pretty quick if they're not careful. Once again, though, this will actually come down to the EMP versus EMP. Good translocate, though, from Freedom.
Freedom able to pull that off.
Yep.
1-for-1 trade. Death Blossom's now out from Amadian. Will only actually finds the D-Mech in there, and with the Coalescence here from Tea Party as well. I think this is where it flips here. I mean, Hour Zero not in the fight in a meaningful way anymore. That's it. It was over as quick as that.
Right. I mean, like I said, EMP versus EMP is the matchup. So Freedom getting away, not hacked, still has his EMP ready was huge. He comes right back in, negates all the follow-up that was attempting to come through for Hour Zero, and they just crumpled. Absolutely nothing they could do, especially with the Death Blossom coming through onto the hacked Diva. She goes down, you lose your front line pretty quick after that, and Tea Party are pushing through with 4 minutes in the bank. Hour Zero, though, do have 4 ultimates coming online, and they are some bangers. So this could get a little contentious.
Bangers is quite right. Salty self-destruct already on its way out into the back of the point, and it will find Freedom, who I'm sure Salty had no idea they were there. I assume they were stealth at the time. It's a big pick, and we're seeing them surge forward with the wind at their back and with the Coalescence at their back as well here from Aramori. Focusing down, Amadian gets the pick, and this is Hour Zero spotting when they can start to take just a little bit of space here, getting within licking distance of Spawn.
Touch the spawn door. Cowards, do it. They're not going to do it. It's actually much smarter for them not to do that. Now that Maxwell is so far ahead.
Sound barrier, and it's going to be My Crazy Cat coming through with the Death Blossom. Finds a couple, 1 displacement kill there onto Pure, and it was looking pretty good for a second there for Tea Party, but that cost Hour Zero almost everything they had, and I'm looking at an EMP here for free.
Right, Tensa's going to have to play smart and avoid this EMP. Looks like he does, and there it comes.
And the sound barrier hits absolutely everybody. The one thing this has allowed is for Tea Party to start to buy some space. They get away from spawn. They get out of spawn. Hyung has the Coalescence now, trying to buoy his team forward, trying to buy them space, trying to buy them maturity to get in and commit the damage they need. Vita's going to go down here to Amadian, who has another Death Blossom here. Pure with the self-destruct finds Tensa as well. So we're going to see them holding on to the Death Blossom for now.
Yeah, and good hold on that too. It'll definitely come in handy here in this next fight. A good off-angle opportunity perhaps, or at least a solid zoning tool. As Maxwell, though, is very close to an EMP. He's going to have to keep an eye out, try not to get caught out by Pure too early, and just keep that rotation going.
That was such good. That was really aggressive scouting from Pure. And in the meantime, we actually see one pick coming through. My Crazy Cat went down there as well. And Charlie is holding right up here against the possible exit into point B. They've only got 1 person riding cart, which is pretty effective way of doing it. It's a big EMP out from Maxwell, though. Hits 4. My Crazy Cat's able to find Kyung. Charlie's down to Tensor, and Marian is holding on to the Death Blossom for now, realizes there's no point committing that just yet, and that's where the fight breaks. This next time through, though, Freedom's coming up on another EMP, and those EMP Blossom combos really win your fights.
Oh yeah, and they have the Coalescence to help back them up a little bit too. Meanwhile, Hour Zero only really has the Death Blossom coming online. Maybe the Earth Shatter if this goes in a slightly longer fight, perhaps. But they're gonna have to keep Vita up long enough to really make that happen, which is doable. Of course, Charlie goes down there, immediately proving me wrong. So good opportunity for Hour Zero here to start extending these fights, building up their ults again, trying to minimize that disadvantage they're at right now, and just hold the line.
Should be an immediate return to sender here for Tea Party, recognizing that they're down their main tank yet again. Charlie has been the first down in a few of these fights here. I'd maybe like to see a little more caution, or a swap to try and, I don't know, give him Zaribulls to keep him alive, because it's clear he's being really heavily focused.
Right, and I mean, so much of the damage coming through is not something that's easily mitigated. Lots of bursts just that can't be dealt with too easily.
There's the EMP sound barrier from Tensor. Maxwell's coming in second with the EMP. Hits 4. Mori's going to find a Marian here. Self-destruct now out from Pure. And Tea Party, I think they've just about got the numbers in their favor here. Salty gets focused down. Shatter in just onto Charlie here, who will survive this time. Vita's able to focus him down eventually with the swing of the hammer. Tensor's still here and in the fight as well. Helping keep sort of a bodyguard role here, keep people away from Vita as they try and close the distance and do the damage. Marianne with a Death Blossom. Not going to be enough here, and I think this might be as far as this payload goes.
Absolutely is. Like you said, Tensa just holding the door saying, hey bud, no, you're underage. I know that ID is fake. You're not coming through here, dude. Back it up, back it up. And maybe getting no value out of that. I don't think he was going to get much anyways. There were just a lot of people watching him walk up. They knew it was coming. It's the last seconds. You know everyone's going to be pressing whatever keys they have. At that point, it was a pretty foregone conclusion. Good EMPs coming out from Maxwell, and just in general, strong coordinated play from Hour Zero to make that hold happen there. It is very easy to lose that first point, but if you do it right, it is very possible to stall there and make a great hold. And now they have a win condition to get back into this match. This is still their life on the line in this game right now. So they better fight like their backs are to the wall, because it is.
There is a world here where Tea Party do just enough to completely shut out Hour Zero, despite the fantastic showing on the defense here. So Tea Party know exactly what they've got to do here to secure the win and move forward in the upper brackets. And you know, we've been in situations where Tea Party need to bring out a strong defense, and they've managed it in spades. And this is just another one of those instances. Oh, you know, I thought we were going straight through it then, but no, it's a little more.
They love doing this. I don't know what it is. Observers. I'll be all right. I agree that there is totally the chance that if Tea Party just staged the fuller hold here, as Achilleos likes to call them, then, well, all my talk about flowery Eichenwald bridge holds really kind of falls off the bridge. But there is hope for sure. I think Hour Zero, if they just build up the EMP, maybe get a nice shatter combo or something like that, simple enough to punch to this point. It can be done. This is not some massive monolithic barrier. It is just the first point on Eichenwald. They cannot get in their heads too much. They just got to play the game, just like any other day.
Well, that's a quick rotation from Hour Zero. Ooh. The clock's out, and they've immediately taken up what you could arguably call the defensive position here. They've taken the point away from Tea Party, and it's now down to Tea Party to try and equalize here. But Charlie is the first to fall yet again here, and we've seen it happen a few times now. The second Charlie is down, the rest of the team very quickly follow. So Tea Party now not likely to get another stab at A. It's all down to their point B defense.
I don't want to say Charlie fed with that charge, but Hour Zero maybe a little less hungry than they were just 15 seconds ago. Yeah, you know, just like I get there's so much great burst potential from a charge. You can instantly change the course of a fight by just getting a pick with a charge, but you open yourself up so much. You're already like on the back foot in terms of positioning. Maybe not the moment to go for a play like that. In my mind, and this is coming from a Plat Rhyme player, mind you, if a Plat Rhyme player is saying, I don't know about that charge, you maybe want to reconsider.
And this is a really rough start here for Tea Party. Antol's down to my crazy cat, and the bleeding is not stopping anytime soon. Hour Zero is starting to look a little bit like Hemophiliacs.
And they're doing it so cheaply. They have 6 ultimates coming online. Tea Party are not far behind them. There have actually been very few Qs pressed, if any, this round, actually. So, the next couple fights here are going to be a fireworks show. I think both teams are afraid of overcommitting until they get to this last section of the map where they're really going to need everything they can get. And here comes a great combo. Oh, my.
Filthy EMP Death Blossom, and look where the cart is already. Man, what has happened to Tea Party? They have just disintegrated in this round.
Right. I mean, I feel, I don't know if it's just, if Hour Zero are stepping up or if Tea Party are just kind of, maybe they got a little overconfident or just they're kind of on the back foot here in the series. And EMP comes through. Let's see what it can do.
Charlie with the shatter still online. Vita's going to go down here. Tea Party, they've got the opening salvo on this one. They need at least one more to secure this. Hour Zero looking to be playing fairly far away from the cart here. No real threat to them just yet. We might see, I think we're going to see the full disengage here from Hour Zero.
Smart from them. Don't stagger this out. Don't take any longer than you need to. Wait for your main tank to get back and try again. Tea Party have a lot of ultimates, but Hour Zero have a lot of time. They want to pull these out. They want Tensa to hold on to this sound barrier, or maybe use it as an aggressive engage, but I personally wouldn't. They just want to go for an eco push here.
There's the manual hack for Freedom to get a little more ult charge in the bank. 43% and climbing here. Antol with the sound barrier nicely hits everybody there. Charlie gets stunned. It's an EMP all over Tea Party, but it's a little bit late to the fight. There are already 3 members down by the time the EMP hits, and Tea Party keep the hold alive.
Right. I mean, great 6-man EMP, but like you said, if you press that Q after 3 members of your party have died, you're not going to get the follow-up you need to really punch it through. And they didn't need much, but they just weren't able to get it no matter what. They were already down. Tensa uses the sound barrier. They commit. They're going to have to spend the next pretty much rest of this bank building up whatever they can, weathering this storm. Tea Party have 2 ultimates coming online. They'll build up their tank ultimates over the course of an extended fight, and it could get ugly fast.
I mean, that was such a quick EMP recharge for Freedom. Comes out, will find Vita, and Vita is down. Immediately down. Salty still hacked out, will eventually outlive that, and Charlie's going to get run down in the meantime. So it's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Coalescence out the back, and Coalescence now out from both teams. Vita charging back here, currently a man disadvantage, considering how quickly Charlie's like to be back in this fight. There's no ults left available to them, but Vita has the charge ready to go. My Crazy Cat momentarily booped away, but has now the Death Blossom ready to go. Close to the distance, will wait out the sound barrier for now, doesn't want to waste that. Self-destruct comes in, and Tea Party, they tag off the point, and Hour Zero, they get 1 point on the board.
I don't know if that was a boop or a C9, but there were a lot of people still alive around that point that did not get it. A play of the game from Maxwell. Very interesting. Maybe the 6-man EMP. Oh, no. Good combo there towards the end, actually, and the manual hack onto the Diva. Just, ouch. Man, that's, I think even with boop or C9 or whatever, I don't want to make that conclusive call for you guys. Either way, Tea Party saw the win in their eyes, and now it's gone. And they're going to have to try again on our next map. Hour Zero, though, very happy with that.
I was getting ready for that to be a 0.07 meter hold there for Tea Party. I think that's what it went down to at its possible point. And I think I want to go back and watch the board, but I feel like that was a self-destruct landing on top of the payload, forcing everybody away. Which,
I think
if your options are C9 and lose the point, or die and lose the point, it doesn't matter. You've lost the point either way, right?
You might as well get it over with, I suppose. Yeah, it's rough. I'm sure plenty of people in chat are mocking them viciously, but guys, really, that was an artificial C9. Did not count. It was not an organic, grass-fed, free-ranging C9. We might see one on Volskaya, I suppose, but for now, hold your horses. We're going to see what we can get. Volskaya, another good map, I think, for Hour Zero, another opportunity for them. Tons of great geometry that favors these airborne heroes, these long sightline heroes. I mean, maybe even some Junkrat. A good opportunity for Sigma as well. Nice first choke point for him to set up his shield and just do his thing. This is another one that Hour Zero could start to claw it back. And if I'm them, winning a map like that, maybe kind of feeling myself a bit, maybe moving with some confidence. And that really can be a dangerous thing.
I think the thing to consider, though, is this is a loser map pick format. And so Hour Zero took us to Eichenwald. Clearly, they thought they had the advantage there. And, well, arguably, yes, they did. But now it's Tea Party's turn to pick. They still only need this one map win to take the series. And you've got to assume this is going to be their best 2CP map. So for Hour Zero, you've really got to dig deep and you've got to start trying to ride that momentum you've just got from winning the previous round to take you to, at the very least, a draw here.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to scrape out everything you got because this is still your life on the line in this match. And it's going to be that way all the way until the end. That is the hole they've dug themselves. Now they have to see if they can climb out. And like you said, this is Tea Party's pick. They seem confident enough to pick it, at least. We could see maybe some Wrecking Ball coming out. They've been playing a lot of Reinhardt. No stretch to say they could bring that back out again. And just in general, I think a lot of their comfort picks are well suited to this map. Lots of opportunity for Reaper Sombra to do their thing. Lots of opportunity for Mercy Echo. There's options for Tea Party for sure. So looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's worth noting as well that we are actually seeing the first side swap of this match with Tea Party wanting to start on the defense here and really set the speed of this. And yeah, you know, this was Hour Zero. The format is the loser gets to pick the map, the winner gets to pick whether they attack or defend first. I wonder if this is really what Tea Party would like. Like maybe they have a plan for offense and they want to set a blistering time and damage their opponent's mental. On the defense, you've got to be a little more slow, a little more steady, a little more solid and dependable. And, you know, it's a crushing loss on Eichenwald, frankly. Like, to go so close and to lose so many fights so convincingly is potentially damaging to the mental. So let's see if Tea Party can bounce back here.
Right. I mean, they're setting up here with this long sightline sort of attack. Amadian has been doing very well on the snipers. His Ash on Dorado was nothing to shake a stick at for sure. Freedom back on the Sombra. It's a staple of Volskaya, really. And not just because she's in that cinematic. She's actually pretty good on this map. So Tea Party look to have a plan. I like this.
Okay, it looks like we might see a bit of early scouting here from Hour Zero, and it's Vita back to make a swap, and we're going with the dive here. Okay, so
I like it. Putting pressure on the snipers, right? You can't just let them stand back there. You have to get through the choke fast and then get over to that high ground and force them away. Strong rotations here coming through too, covered by that matrix. This is smart.
Yeah.
They have a plan too. Hour Zero are no slouches either strategically. These guys, this is a chess game.
It is, and I like how quick that rotation was. Stopped Amadian finding too much value. Max was able to get in and get the manual hack there onto Pure in the middle of the rotation. So Pure's got a couple of seconds there where it's slightly more vulnerable than you would normally expect a D.Va to be. There's the second hack. Vita's going to get the manual hack on that one. Looks like not a lot of follow-up damage there, so D.Va, the Sombra's not really charging ult as much as you might like, but Hour Zero find the opening pick. There's the D-Mech onto Pure as well, and Hour Zero looking very good here for an early offense.
I mean, just kind of a weird game of attrition. Like you said, it wasn't necessarily about the Sombras building a ton of ult charge. A more aggressive Sombra, frankly, might have their ult already instead of this like 75% that both Freedom and Maxwell are at. Not to say they're doing poorly, because obviously they're doing fine. But it wasn't about that. It was about just finding the openings, forcing the cooldowns throughout the rotations to just get that advantage. And now they're looking to make another quick attack and another strange kind of side rotation here.
But you can feel the urgency here from Freedom. They know that they're so close to that EMP and that it is a fight winner. It will allow them to stabilize. So it's down to Freedom and Maxwell. Whoever gets theirs online first is likely to dictate how this point B defense goes. Maxwell's got theirs online ready to go. Salty's a little bit away from the self-destruct. You don't necessarily need the combo. Freedom out first. Hacks Maxwell, stops them getting that EMP online, and Tea Party looks like they're going to mount the hold here. Hour Zero going to be going back and rethinking this one. We'll lose at least a couple of people on the way out here, but honestly, Hour Zero not back in the fight in a big enough way to keep this going.
Definitely not. 2CP is so, especially on that last point, it's so stubborn. You really need a clean fight win to start making progress on the point. And then, frankly, another, just because that's how the game mode works. What was really unfortunate about that EMP for Hour Zero is that it also got Aramori. She was trying to hang out in the back and then re-engage with the Coalescence, provide a little extra cushion, but she got caught too. And there was just nothing you could do after that. So clean fight win from Tea Party, not too expensive either, but Hour Zero have a good bank coming online.
Oh man, that EMP only hit Pure here. We'll see a couple of picks start to come through. Charlie has to throw in the Primal Rage just to keep himself alive and in the fight for now. There's the manual hack onto the Moira, looking to juggle them over into the pits. Aramori not out of this just yet. Looks like they may have survived that one. Tensa goes to bring them back into the fight. That was so casual. Oh my god. Oh, look at the song. Boom. Off with your head. And it's gone. Hour Zero with 2 ticks in their grasp and a massive advantage on the point here. Anton in a position to tag back in to keep this contested, but immediately removed from the game. And in this last couple of maps, Hour Zero have really woken up.
They're heating up, man. They're feeling themselves. I have no idea how Aramori survived that primal. She was dancing on the edge. She was inches away, and she's been playing her surf maps, I guess, because she just skated right on by. Good on her, frankly, because she was hacked, and then she was getting juggled in midair by herself and still survived and came back into that fight to help keep them going, to help provide that sustain. Really have no idea what happened off on that side there. We swapped over to the free cam, but good on her. I'll definitely shout her out for that one. Good on Maxwell and Mike Crazy Cat, just providing consistent pressure that those choke points and really not letting anyone get back in and get their stall done, which can often burn lots of time and lots of fights if you play it right. So strong work from Hour Zero. Like we said, they're heating up. These guys are feeling themselves. They came in with a plan. And I think those rotations, how quick and how unorthodox I suppose they were, really threw Tea Party off. And they did not have an answer for that.
I feel like Tea Party have now been downloaded a little bit by Hour Zero.
A bit, yeah.
A lot of focus coming out onto Charlie in particular. We saw that a lot on Eichenwalder. And, you know, taking out the main tank, it's the quickest way to get the House of Cards to fall over. Let's see if they can replicate this as they move over onto their defense phase. It's going to be Charlie coming out on the Winston here. In fact, it's going to be a mirror matchup to what we saw in the previous round.
Yep, and Maxwell is playing aggressively for the EMP. He was standing right outside of spawn trying to build some charge. He's ahead by a couple %, and that can sometimes make quite the difference. He wants to be able to control this fight and set up for a hold for his team.
It's a lot of damage coming through from Charlie here. As the support stat is back, fairly confident to get in and brawl and get that ultimate online nice and quick. But again, it's Charlie down first, a little bit overconfident, a little bit too trusting, a little bit sent back to spawn.
Maxwell lighting up the kill feed here, ahead 20-25%, just unafraid, constantly applying pressure. If they build this EMP and then just use that, if they're smart about their ult usage, they're burning minimum 2 or 3 minutes on this hold. And that will already put them at a huge advantage, even if they lose that first point, just in terms of time bank. So I think Hour Zero are approaching this exactly the right way, just turning on the aggression, not giving Tea Party a chance to get these rotations, hopefully meeting them up here in this high ground as we get going, and just flipping the switch, doing a great job.
Will, of course, see Maxwell with a hack just about ready to go. The big EMP. In fact, there it is. Hit 3. And, well, kill surprise. Who's down first? It is going to be Charlie. That's just got to be a reset. Like, the second that happens, you got to go, okay, cool. We lost that one. Let's try again. No sense prolonging the inevitable.
Right. I mean, good on the one positive takeaway for Tea Party is that they disengaged quickly, didn't use anything. They're coming online damn near with 6 ultimates. Anto will be a little bit behind just because of how slow that builds, but a sustained fight will see all 6 Qs available for Tea Party. Meanwhile, Hour Zero only used 2, holding on to their tank ultimates, their sound barrier especially important. This is going to be a pretty even fight. It's just about the execution.
I almost wonder if Hyung having the Coalescence here is what's going to be what makes the difference. It's going to be answered by the self-destruct, forces a reposition, forces Hyung and Hanzo into the small room where the ultimates coming through from Hour Zero really starts to make the difference. And Hour Zero, once more in control. They have now no ultimates left on the board, and Tea Party are coming back in with a whopper.
Oh, sure. They've got tons. It's going to be up to Maxwell to try and build this EMP as fast as he can. Get it in the middle of this next fight or something. Try and cancel something out just with sheer aggression. And there he's building up another 15-20% per run. It's pretty effective. But yeah, Tea Party, it's hard to deny how much value they have coming online here. The sound barrier alone could really put a stop to that. Maxwell, though, building up 85%, 90%. He's already got it. This is insane. He is on another level right now.
Why were you running the Echo when your Sombra is this
So
good?
Yeah.
He's only going to hit Freedom this time, but at the very least, will back out the sound barrier from Antol. But he was able to find one, and it's a trade that probably favors our Zero here because the support is down. Muddian's going to go down to Salty here. Self-destruct in from Pure, not going to find too much on this one either. Salty themselves closing in on a self-destruct here. There's the D-Mech. And Tea Party, once more, has not worked out in their favor. The only thing they've got going for them is in this next fight. Well, no, in this fight, they've got the EMP going on for them. Manages to hack 3, secures the D-Mech onto Salty, but that's all they've got for this so far. Coalescence is now out from Kyung, and Freedom going to go down. So the only pick has been onto Freedom here. Amadian's now playing over on the Tracer. Sound barrier out from Tenta to keep our Zero in this that little bit longer. My Crazy Cat with the Death Blossom. The Coalescence out from Aramori as well. And our Zero take it down.
Man.
And we are all tied up here. 2 maps apiece. And our Zero have decided that taking prisoners is no longer in their rulebook.
Right. I mean, Maxwell, just something lit up in his eyes, and he said, I'm not going to let us lose. I'm going to build 3 EMPs over the course of these fights. I am going to get manual hacks on Death Blossoms, so they're never going to get more than 1 kill. Just, he was everywhere he needed to be. Such a great play from him overall, but tons of great support from his team as well. Just fantastic team effort from them, good understanding of just what they needed to do to set up that hold with the pieces they had. So strong work from them. They know exactly what needs to be done. Their backs have been to the wall this whole time, and they go, enough is enough. We are a team that you must fear, and we are going to take you to map 5.
And you know, I said it in the middle of that map as well. Maxwell on the Sombra has felt to me like the real difference maker here for Howard Zero. And fine, you like the Echo. The Echo may be working for you against other teams. Did it really take you 2 losses on the trot to make that swap back over onto the Sombra? Like, fine, it's working for you now, but we could have been done by now, Thibble. Not that that's my motivation here at all. Not that it's nearly 2:30 in the morning here at all. But you know, our Zero, you were holding out on us, is what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, one more map coming our way. We've got one more round of control coming at you. We're going to throw to a little break here whilst I try and regain hold of my sanity, and we'll be back hopefully in a couple minutes.
Big! Uprising Academy, they lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha debajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend. Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Welcome back, everybody. You'll be pleased to know I've got my sanity firmly back in my grasp, and we're ready to bring you the final map of today's broadcast. It has been a bumper broadcast, 4 maps in total to fill out your Sunday. Lots of work being put in behind the scenes here by all our wonderful production staff, and just take a minute to acknowledge how lovely they are. There we go, minute over. So one final map, and we are going to be going into a control map, and I believe, unless I misheard, we're going to Nepal as Tea Party's pick for the final map of the day.
That is correct. I'm going to pretend I don't hear production's indignant scoffs as we go over how quick maybe that minute was. But Nepal in general is I like this a lot. I think it obviously depends on what stages we get to start. But if we see something like Sanctum or Shrine, which I feel are definitely the more chaotic maps, let's say, we could be in for quite the fiesta. Of course, there's also the chance that we get all 3, because isn't that just how this day ought to go, really, at this point? There's so much opportunity for flexibility amongst both of these teams who have loved to swap it around. These are not teams that are just like one comp champs, like we've got the Echo, the Reaper, the Sombra, we've got the Rhine and the Winston and the Wrecking Ball, we've got D.Va, we've got Sigma, we've got all these different supports. It's been a delight, frankly. It's been so rock, paper, scissorsy, such an even match all the way through. And frankly, those are the best games of Overwatch, where it's just both teams trading blows all the way out. And Nepal is a great map for that, because it's control and it's pure chaos. And that's just been our day.
It has been very rock, paper, scissors, but I feel a little bit like in the past couple of rounds, Hour Zero have introduced the gun into proceedings, and that is Maxwell on the Sombra. And unfortunately, guys, gun tends to beat everything in the rock, paper, scissors matchup. And unless Tea Party can, inside the next round, 2 rounds, find a way to routinely shut Maxwell down, I feel like that's as far as they're going to go, because it has been Maxwell more often than not getting the bigger, impactful EMPs here, and you can't keep letting him get away with that if you want to take the series.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'm going to make myself sound really old here, which is fine. Instead of rock, paper, scissors, gun, it was Chuck Norris. And the gesture you would use to represent Chuck Norris is not one I could make on broadcast without getting fined. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with gun. Which is weirdly the less violent and inappropriate option here. Maxwell has just been the secret sauce, the trump card, just completely turning on, doing what he's got to do. We've got some quick engages coming through and more Sombra Reaper. This is good for Hour Zero.
Yeah, but look, Hour Zero running the battle castle here. First time we've seen this in a little while. Look for the old oink and yoink with the Orisa and the Roadhog together. Salty taking a breather around the back end of the point here. Repositioning back up the stairs, giving the old loop-de-loop. Sends in the fishing hook. Big old nothing on the back of that one. And it's going to be My Crazy Cat with the first pick here, and Medium going to go down. Salty finds the hook onto the already demeching D.Va. That's going to be coming through, and Hour Zero looking poised for a pretty relaxed cap here.
Yeah. I gotta say, that fight was over, and I'm not gonna be like, Charlie, that charge, because the fight was over. But Charlie, the charges, please think of me. Think of what it does to your poor caster, your color caster's heart when you charge. It makes me sad inside. And again, that was the end of the fight, so I'm not gonna harp on it too much. What I will harp on is that Freedom is keeping me up with Maxwell here. That is gonna be big. They cannot let Maxwell get ahead. And he already is.
And that's terrible. You might have the EMP online and ready to go, but right now there's no real need for anybody to use it. Aramori comes in with the Coalescence, helps keep My Crazy Cat topped up. Charlie's going to go down here, and that's a pretty good investment of Ultimates, because that's going to be back inside the next 40 to 50 seconds.
Absolutely. And Hour Zero maintaining 5 others pretty quickly. Salty and Tensa can build theirs fast. Tea Party are looking pretty good as well on the ultimate front, but Hour Zero are feeling themselves. Phil, is Tea Party boomed?
It's entirely possible. I don't know whether it's that they're boomed or just that Hour Zero have figured out that they've actually got to take this fairly seriously. Interestingly, Maxwell gets EMP'd before they can bring their own EMP to bear, and we lose 2 already from Hour Zero. It's going to be Hyung coming back in with the Coalescence here to start things off. My Crazy Cat holds on to the Death Blossom. No answering Death Blossom just yet from Amarien. Our Zero with the ults out their back. There's been no cap just yet for Tea Party. We get the sound barrier Tensor. That's going to allow My Crazy Cat to come in big with the Death Blossom EMP as well to maintain their control of the points.
All right. I mean, so the start of that fight, I was feeling pretty bad for Our Zero because it looked like Maxwell was trying to hide for a counter EMP and was just caught out without expecting it. And I'm like, okay, Our Zero lose that fight, but it's fine. Maxwell didn't get to use his EMP, and they just backed up and saved and just held on anyways. And now they're engaging with a supercharger, and the round is already almost over. Tea Party don't have a lot of ultimates.
That's so much damage as well. The Shadow's going to come out, but I think that's too little too late. I'm not even able to get one here before getting dragged back into the waiting more Salty and thoroughly dealt with. And boy, Our Zero just looking assailable right now. One more map point in this.
With Orisa Hog, no less. I like it. I think they've seen, maybe they see what I see, and they see Charlie charging around everywhere. And they're like, if he's going to charge, we're just going to fortify and hook him, okay? And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. And honestly, can't deny how effective it was. And we're getting our wish, perhaps. Maxwell swapping over to the Pharah. I'm okay with this. Crazy Cat probably just swapping for the quick TP over on the side, trying to take that general high ground rollout that most teams take, especially because Vita, despite having 4 legs, not very fast. So yeah, they're going to need that speed advantage for sure. I'm okay with this. I like it. I'm surprised Tensa or Aramori are not on the Mercy, but hey, you know, do what you got to do.
I guess their aim is just to try and keep up the 2 tanks in the middle of the brawl and hope that there's a lot of another splash damage coming in from Maxwell to make this worth their while. Maxwell already at 30%, but the first pick of the fight is going to be Salty going down as Freedom secures the pick. And we're going to see Our Zero back away, although they have managed to get the D-Mech and the kill there onto Pure. I think this is going Tea Party's way, although Our Zero is starting to bounce back a little bit. My Crazy Cat with the TP over to the point to keep it contested, pressuring shields, and has to Wraith walk away. Maxwell might be able to pepper in some damage here, but it's not going to go much further than that, and Tea Party already have the point under their control.
Right. I mean, the initial rotation was so disjointed, and there's a bit of that like kind of split push mentality with the Pharah, but it just didn't look like it was very effective. That said, good disengage at least gets them back on the point pretty quickly, and now the picks are coming through fast.
I mean, this is disastrous. This time it wasn't Charlie that went down first. They took Hyung out of the fight, and with all of that healing that was required to keep this team up taken out of it, that was it. It just wasn't going any further. And it's on to Maxo just to, you know, spam a couple guys on the way in. No biggie.
And weirdly, because Our Zero has spent a little extra time getting some poke in and trying to recontest, despite losing that first fight, they're generally ahead in ultimates. They've got the sound barrier, they've got the barrage coming through too, which is going to be pretty big. So they are managing their ult very well.
Barrage, and they've already lost Hyung. Nothing out of that barrage, but having Hyung and Antor both down means that even though Freedom has the EMP, it's a heck of a hook, and the melee to round out, and then yes,
Salty.
Hey, show your ballet skills to the world there, Salty.
Hey, you know, someone could have swapped to Widow. He had to dodge them. Yeah, right. And they're engaging on spawn with the supercharger. What do you do against this? I love it. Our Zero are feeling themselves. They're using everything.
Charge the Coalescence, and Freedom did get the hack off, but Pace won't with the lives. Tensa escapes a range of the EMP and provides the sound barrier for the rest of Our Zero to keep themselves in the fights. And this is such a strong hold. Like, this is a really difficult hold to come back from, but you've got to be careful because right now, Our Zero have been a little bit split up as they try to disengage. They've already lost Salty. They're not giving up too much space just yet, but Tea Party definitely have a momentary advantage.
And they're just getting so much poke on the way in. Tea Party are not able, they have to take so much time just to heal and rotate that Salty's going to be able to get back in the fight.
Okay, well, they did at the very least spot My Crazy Cat out. Here he goes, waiting into the arms of Aramori to get that healing ready to go. There's the hook interrupted on Salty, and we do actually see the flip come through here for Tea Party, but it's last fight territory. Our Zero win this fight, and this is it. They've likely taken the map, the match, the series. Down barrier out nice and quick from Ansel, stops that Death Blossom finding anything too impactful, and now it's Maxwell's time to shine, but he's hacked, he's Defense Matrix, and he's gone.
I think he swaps there. I think in general, Hour Zero might start looking at a couple swaps. They've got plenty of time with 50% on the board. The Sombra, I think, is a good play. Try and kind of mitigate this ult advantage that's built up. And they don't have to worry about a sound barrier coming through as Maxwell builds his EMP, which will definitely come faster, I think. But they're going to have to watch out for the Shatter Bomb combo. They're going to have to hope that Vita can maintain his shields and kind of balance that out well enough, because Charlie could just rush straight past, and we've seen that he loves doing that.
There's the first pick of the fight, and it's Tea Party. My Crazy Cat down to Pure, and Pure with the second here. Charlie with a charge. Champion charge. As those go, we'll find the pick there onto Salty. And Hour Zero back out, and Maxwell did not get anywhere near enough EMP charge in that fight.
No, he got picked out pretty early. We see a swap over onto the Wrecking Ball just to make sure we can kind of get in on the point and start contesting and being a nuisance. Vita coming into the Supercharger could be big, especially for building up that EMP, but Salty going down so fast.
Oh man, but it's a 1-for-1. There's the EMP. There's the shatter over the top. We'll see the Supercharger go down there. Did he intentionally shatter the Supercharger? I guess we'll never know. Anyway, that's down and out. Amedian will have the Death Blossom. My Crazy Cat still searching for it, but a lot of point presence being gained here. They've already racked up 50% on the point. Sound barrier. They dodge out of the way of the self-destruct, and EMP is out from Maxwell. My Crazy Cat goes in the Death Blossom, able to find one, and Salty is back and swinging and winning. And there's the flip. Last fight territory. Hour Zero in a great position here. Tea Party, they've got to get this contest going, and they've got to get it going now. Freedom tags back in, but tends to just knock them out entirely. And Toll, with the sound barrier, just to keep the contest going that little bit longer, will eventually get worked down. Overtime, getting worked down as well. Charlie tags back in on the Wrecking Ball, has to make it a swing through to keep himself alive and keep this contested. Pure is hacked, Pure is debacked, Pure is down. Tea Party, they started this, they came into map 3, 2 maps up, they just needed that 1 point, and Hour Zero have come alive in the final 3 points to deny them that chance. They take the reverse sweep, and they move forward in the winners bracket.
Just a complete level up and download across that entire series, but especially on Nepal. The depth of strategy, your mind, Kings, hello, and Aramori, sorry, and Queen. Like, we talk a lot about adaptability and staying ahead of your opponent in Overwatch, especially in a meta that is so fluid, right? And this whole time, it looked like Hour Zero, I mean, not this whole time. After the first 2 maps, let's say, it looked like Hour Zero started making those adaptations and just ran away with it. Now it falls to you guys to vote for the Opinion Outpost MVP of the match. Who adapted the best? Who had the best plays? Who was the most consistent? That is all up to you in Twitch chat, and you guys are going to decide, potentially, who we interview after this next break that we have coming up.
live with the MVP from the previous round. It's My Crazy Cat, DPS player, here to join us. So, My Crazy Cat, first of all, congratulations. How are you feeling on the back of that win?
Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. We've sweep the pretty good team, I say. We pulled it out the end with some silly comps.
So it seemed a little bit to me like for the first 2 rounds, Tea Party really had you guys figured out what flipped the switch for you.
Well, we just said, you know what, let's just start having fun, and we just had fun the whole time, and it actually just worked. Having fun just works sometimes.
Okay.
I like that. Just kind of playing your own game, stuff like that. That's good.
Yep.
A lot of teams have said, a lot of players from teams that we've interviewed over the course of the last few days, we'll often ask them, who are you looking forward to playing? Who's someone that you really want to try and take down to prove yourselves? And a lot of them mentioned your team. How do you feel about that? And are there any teams on the flip side of that you feel you would really want to face off against here?
Feels pretty good being like one of the top teams in this bracket. But I'd like to play against Linares. They seem like a pretty good roster right now. I definitely want to play them in the later bracket if they make it.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they're on their way through to the bracket. So I think maybe not your next match, but possibly the next match after, if Linares make it through. So we obviously have some more games coming your way in the Trial of Champions. I don't want this to sound mean, but I was almost hoping to speak to Maxwell here because it felt like it was Maxwell's swap to me in particular over onto the Sombra rather than the Echo that did things here. Was there a specific reason why you guys were running the Echo so much at the start?
Wait, why we were doing what?
Running the Echo.
Running the Echo at the start? Well, we just wanted to run down the teams, so we decided to swap Samba and just EMP them and wipe them every fight. So that's the main reason.
Fair enough.
You guys in general, this team was not afraid to flex around a lot. To what degree was that anything you guys have really practiced in terms of compositional variants, and how much of it was that what you talked about, just deciding to kind of have some fun with it and play whatever you like?
At the start, we played the soldier comps. Was pretty we went too hard on it today, and then we decided to just go brawl, have fun, and it just works. Like it's just that easy. Brawl just works.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Simple as that. Throw your coaching out the window. That's the thing you need to bear in mind. So, my Crazy Cat, I think we're probably close to the point where we can let you go rejoin your team, but we wanted to give you the chance to, if there's anybody you want to say thanks to or give a shout out to, then by all means, take it away.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to my team. They're doing a really good, solid team, really good roster. I love them.
Yeah, well, good to
That's
hear.
good.
Well,
Love to hear it, man.
Cat, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go and rejoin your team. And for the rest of us here on the broadcast, well, I'm afraid that very nearly brings us towards the end of the day. However, it's not the end of Trial of Champions. We still have another week's worth of games coming at you, and those are going to be starting again up on Wednesday. That's this Wednesday, 21st. Same time, same channel, exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same. Mostly the same lineup here, I think. Still working out who's appearing on what days, but myself and Thibble will be back to bring you some more of the action as and when we're allowed back onto broadcast. And Thibble, last time we were here, I asked you for a few words to close things out, and you gave us an essay.
Right.
Can we get something around the 20 to 30 word mark to close things out here?
I'll keep it short because I know you want to go to bed. Thanks very much for watching. Today's games were crazy. Next week's will be even crazier. Come back and watch them. Thank you.
Nice and succinct. Thank you very much, Thibble. Well, from myself, from Thibble, and from all the wonderful people here at ELO Hell that keep the lights on and keep this show running, thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week for more Trial of Champions.